Indiana's western border on radar. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. The air quality is supposed to get a little bit better across Indiana today.
We should start to mix out some of this smoke and haze by later this afternoon. Winds are going to switch directions out of the south, and that should help and improve some of that air quality.
WISH TV meteorologist Tara Hastings says portions of Indiana will also get a couple of rounds of thunderstorms today. There's already some severe thunderstorm warnings in place west of Marion County. Tornadoes also can't be ruled out, says Hastings. 2 people have been charged in the death of a state trooper in Plainfield from Wednesday. Trooper Aaron Smith was killed when he was hit by a Chevy Traverse that had been stolen and police were chasing.
He was placing stop sticks on Ronald Reagan Parkway to try and stop a fleeing vehicle that was stolen with multiple occupants.
State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, the Hendricks County prosecutors charging the driver Eddie Jones of Missouri with murder. Demarion Curry was in the car too. He's been charged with auto theft. 2 Indianapolis Colts players were suspended by the NFL for violating the league's gambling policy.
And not long after that decision came down from the league, the Colts said they waived both of them. I'm Sean Herrick. That means they're both not on the active roster. Referring to cornerback Isaiah Rodgers and outside linebacker Rashad Berry, both Berry and Rodgers can apply for reinstatement into the NFL after the 2023 season. Colts general manager Chris Ballard says the moves had to be made because the integrity of the game is of utmost importance. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indiana State Police will be doing what they can to keep drunk drivers off the road over the holiday weekend.
We have extra high visibility patrols looking for those dangerous and impaired drivers because this is going to be a very heavily traveled holiday period.
Captain Ron Galliva is talking about the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. He says if you're drinking this weekend, make sure you have a designated driver. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, July 22nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Harrison Southside crash. Westbound 465 after Emerson Avenue. 3 right lanes are blocked and traffic is stopped back to I-74 then to Brookville Road. At least a 40-minute delay right now if you're working on this. Westbound 70 slow to downtown from Emerson Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Warm and muggy today with more showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, some of which could be on the stronger side. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm WISH TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it! My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. Tragic news last night. A young state trooper dying in the line of duty trying to stop a stolen vehicle from fleeing police in Plainfield. Indiana State Trooper Aaron Smith passing away at the age of 33.
Leaving behind a young wife. And this was a story that happened not too far from where I was last night on the southwest side. It started at the Ameriplex area, and there was a report of a stolen vehicle, and then the suspects decided to flee. And they jump on Interstate 70, and this police chase ensues going up to Ronald Reagan Parkway near Plainfield. And then 33-year-old Indiana State Police Trooper Aaron Smith. He tried to put those stop sticks out, basically which are designed to flatten the tire of the vehicle. But unfortunately, the scumbags that were inside of this vehicle crashed into him, costing him his life. This was the announcement last night at a press conference from Superintendent Doug Carter.
Here we are again. Here we are again. This young trooper is one of the best of us. He'd been on the department about 5 years. But he didn't survive tonight. And I'm sorry, as you know, I'm normally not without words, but I'm not really sure what to say other than the sadness continues to follow us. And he's got a young wife, beautiful family that is here tonight, of course, and will continue to surround them.
And that was State Superintendent Doug Carter holding back the tears.
Yeah, you could hear the emotion in his voice for sure. One of his guys died in the line of duty, no less. I'm looking at pictures right now of Trooper Smith. This was from WRTV's Facebook page just a couple of days ago in Johnson County, helping out his neighbors clean up tornado damage. His wife was there. There's pictures of him right there helping out with the trees and stuff. And then, a couple days later, killed in the line of duty, gone.
Pretty good athlete when he was younger. Played ball at Whiteland High School, I believe. Played football. And it's so frustrating because this was such a senseless death. If you're fleeing from the police, if you just pull over, right, you're not going to get away. You know you're not going to get away at this point. Just pull over, and you'll probably be back out on the streets sooner rather than later. But you had to murder this guy, and that's what it was. It was murder. And 2 Missouri teenagers have been charged in this crash. 18-year-old Eddie Jones, charged with murder, and 19-year-old Damarian Curry, charged with auto theft. These are the 2 scumbags that have taken a husband, taken someone's son, and taken a hero from the streets of Indianapolis, crashing into him. And also involved in this, Nigel, a missing 15-year-old female has been turned back over to the authorities in Missouri. She has not been charged in this incident. So the way that I see this, Trooper Smith, he won this. He was part of the winning team that apprehended these suspects. That's a win. He lost his life making sure the good guys won. And I want his legacy to be that of a winner, that of a hero. And you just pray for the family and the co-workers of this fallen trooper.
The family part of it, I know all too well. My family went through the same thing probably 40 years ago. My uncle was a state trooper, died in the line of duty chasing a drunk driver. And you never get over it. You're never the same. My Aunt Teresa, my mom, my Aunt Jo, my cousins who were very young at the time. I know that you'll never be the same. You never get over something like this. And I pray for Trooper Smith's family. Heart goes out to you.
Governor Holcomb put out a statement, basically thoughts and prayers to the officer and his family and the entire Indiana State Police Department. Here's what I would love to see Governor Holcomb do. On his way out, because he's in his lame duck phase as governor right now. He's termed out for the time being in Indiana. Bring back the death penalty for those who kill law enforcement officers. Actually use it. Because I know for a fact there are some folks on Indiana death row, Benjamin Ritchie, I believe, being one of them, who killed a cop in Beech Grove, who are out of appeals. They have had the legal system run its course. They're out of appeals, but yet there they are. And the excuse given is that, well, the company that makes that lethal injection cocktail, they don't want to be known as the, killing drug. But other states have been able to figure out ways to execute folks on death row. So if you want to make it up to a lot of people in the state of Indiana, Governor Holcomb, the ones that you locked down during COVID, the ones you called a petri dish that just wanted to open up, the people that saw you meet with Malik Muhammad, here's what you do. On your way out the door, you find a way to kill some of these people that are out of appeals. Let it be known that if you kill one of our law enforcement officers in the state of Indiana, you will die yourself. That's what I think. Maybe I'm the Lone Ranger here. It kind of depends on your thoughts on the death penalty. But if you're going to have it, and the state of Indiana does have it, use it. And if you're not going to use it for cop killers, what are you doing? Sickening. Absolutely sickening. Another big story that came out late yesterday, Broad Ripple Village Association. They're making the bars, well, I shouldn't say they're making. They've announced that the bars and restaurants will be closing at around 1 a.m. moving forward. That's the plan right now. Now, this goes back to a very violent weekend, this past weekend, Nige. A couple people shot and killed. They've had a lot of problems in Broad Ripple lately. Long story short, because Joe Hogsett and Ryan Mears can't control their city, the bar owners in Broad Ripple now, they're scrambling, trying to figure something out.
And a lot of the other, and what's not talked about too, is not only the loitering and some people coming to this area at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning when most of those bars are shut down anyway, and just loitering and bringing guns, and the construction in that general area is making things so bad you can't get on the street. The fencing is making it so that you are all kind of in there in close proximity. You can't get out of the bars very easy. It's just that whole, in general, the construction projects going on in Broad Ripple are making people's lives miserable and businesses miserable as well.
It's embarrassing, though, that our business owners in the city of Indianapolis, and I count Broad Ripple as that, have to make these types of decisions. It's embarrassing that they have to get together and go, well, because crime is so out of control, even though it's not necessarily happening in our bars, in our facility, we're going to have to figure something out because we're getting blamed for this kind of stuff. And that's what's happening now. A lot of these bar owners got together and said, we don't want to be the blame for all of this, so we're going to close early. Now, some bar owners are really going to miss out on a couple hours worth of revenue. And again, the whole reason this is happening is because Hogsett and Mears have no handle on crime in this city.
And there are a couple of problem bar owners as well that are fostering these types of activities. Make no mistake about it. The ones that didn't want to close at 1 or 1:30 are the problems, from what I understand.
All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
We are on the south side with all sorts of trouble looking to westbound 465. That is a crash at Bluff Road, and it looks like it's blocking the right lane. Traffic stop back to South Meridian Street 135. But still looking at this crash, south side westbound 465 after Emerson Avenue. This is a crash blocking 3 right lanes after Emerson Avenue, and we are stopped all the way back to Brookville Road. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Is it possible to protect your small business from big cyber threats? It is, with the help of advanced security from Comcast Business. Restrictions apply. Requires Comcast Business Internet, leased router, and security edge. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, we have got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Morgan, Hendricks, and Boone County until 3:59 p.m. Radar starting to light up. Got a big line of nasty on the way. Morgan, Hendricks, and Boone County. Severe thunderstorm warning until 3:59 p.m. We will keep you up to date. Do not go anywhere. Keep it locked right here to 93 WIBC. It's 88 right now at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
GeoFocus Academy is the premier online private school for Indiana students, helping students build a successful future regardless of race, income, or geographic boundaries. 96% of Indiana residents qualify to attend tuition-free using the Indiana Choice Scholarship. With certified teachers and hands-on learning from home, you can create a bright future for your child. Now enrolling grades K through 12 for the 2023-2024 school year. Learn more at k12.com/GFA. GeoFocus Academy, where education clicks.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The
good old days are being made right now.
Wake up your taste buds with Bluebell Java Jolt. A delicious pint of coffee ice cream with dark chocolate-flavored chunks and a decadent coffee fudge swirl. It's the jolt you need to perk up your day.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at Walmart Supercenters and Walmart Neighborhood Markets.
This is a severe weather alert from the Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning Storm Desk.
Severe thunderstorm warning issued for Hendricks County, parts of Boone County, Clay County, Hendricks County, Montgomery, Morgan, and Putnam counties until about 3:45. Winds reported up to 80 miles an hour. Possible damages including hail and damaging winds and the possibility for an isolated tornado. Again, that's severe thunderstorm warning for Hendricks County, Boone, Clay, Clinton, Montgomery, Morgan, and Putnam counties until 3:45. Winds up to 80 miles an hour have been reported in this storm. And again, watch out for that. Damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes are a possibility for this storm coming up this afternoon. We'll have all the latest updated information on 93 WIBC.
You're just minutes away from another severe weather update. Brought to you by Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning.
Out of the Marines at 22. It's great to be active again.
I've played 36 holes multiple days in a row without pain. Everything's great.
Are you tired of living with chronic joint pain? QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissue, natural healing agents from your own body, so your body can heal itself the way it was designed, with no pain pills, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Thanks to QC Kinetics, quality of life is just a lot better.
Definitely changed my life.
Call now to see if regenerative medicine could be the answer you've been looking for. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics have proven protocols that can give you lasting relief now, and the consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160. In Eagle Creek and Greenwood, 463-235-7160.
Need a new bank for your small business? How about an old one? For a limited time, you can earn up to a $500 cash bonus when you open a free or basic business checking account with Old National. So think big when it comes to your small business and choose a bank where relationships and results have mattered for nearly 200 years. Visit a local banking center or learn more at oldnational.com/success today. Complete qualifying activities within 60 days of account opening. $50 minimum initial deposit required. Account must remain open 120 days. Member FDIC. Old National Bank. Get old.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Be Honest Bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, Johnson County's American Standard independent heating and air conditioning dealer, invites you to celebrate America's birthday with them and have a shot at winning a Yeti cooler. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling will be at the Franklin Firecracker Festival Monday evening, July the 3rd, by the stage with giveaways and a chance to win a new Yeti cooler. See you at Youngs Creek Park in Franklin. And with the hot weather, if you need AC service, visit callthemarshallnow.com. Marshall is your American Standard air dealer.
At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialist can handle any AC repair. Just call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourair.com.
Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hello. Hammer's over there. My name is Nigel. Former god-awful House Speaker Paul Ryan.
I think that's his official title.
Former god-awful House Speaker, former and current rhino in charge over there at Fox News. He's on the board there at Fox News. Paul Ryan going on, well, I guess technically it's his competition. CNBC to rip Donald Trump.
Look, it's a disaster if we nominate Trump. You know, I think that I've been saying this for a long time. But Liz is right, which is he could win. I think we lose with him. I think we're much more likely to lose. We haven't won anything with him since he first won in 2016. We lost the House in 2018, the presidency in 2020, the Senate in 2020, and we could have won the Senate in 2022, but for him.
Are you going to endorse it? Is Rupert going to tell you who to endorse?
No, I'm going to endorse whoever I want, but right
you're
now...
You're on the board of Fox. That's why I said it.
Yeah, I know. I'm for anybody not named Trump right now.
Anybody not named Trump?
Anybody not named
RFK? Anybody not named Kennedy?
A Republican not named Trump.
Yeah. So Paul Ryan endorsing anybody not named Donald Trump. So, Nigel, let's make it official. Let's congratulate Donald Trump on his nomination as the GOP candidate for the presidential race.
You know what's funny with these interviews with these Trump derangement syndrome sycophants, these rhinos, Republican in name only, like Paul Ryan is, like, he didn't expand on why Trump is a threat or a disaster to America. I think he used the word a disaster. Like, what would be the policy that Trump would enact if he's president that would be a disaster? Negotiating better deals with overseas adversaries like China, perhaps? I don't know. Beating inflation, reinstating the Remain in Mexico policy. I mean,
now,
give me a break. He doesn't, like, what, would he prefer a Democrat?
Well, he said no to RFK Jr. He said a Republican there. But, man, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. I kind of agree. Donald Trump, I don't know if he can win to win the general election, rather. I don't know if he can do that. Has he done anything to better his case in states like North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin? Has he done anything to make you say, okay, this time's going to be different? I understand that. But I'm just telling you, 99% of the time when Paul Ryan says something, I'd like to be on the other side. So that's why it's a little weird for me right now. I kind of understand what he's trying to say because I'm tired of losing elections too. I am somebody that votes predominantly for the Republican candidate. And right now it's like being a fan of the Washington Generals. You have faith, you have hope, but at the end of the day, you know what's going to happen. They're going to dump a bucket of water on your head that's going to be loaded with confetti, and you're going to lose another election. This is Chris Christie.
Oh, another one.
He jumped on with Lawrence Jones on Fox News last night. And remember how the GOP said, look, if you want to be a part of these debates, you got to sign our waiver that says you're going to support whoever the candidate is. Well, Chris Christie says, I'm not doing that if it's Trump.
And Donald Trump needs to work for this nomination.
If he becomes the nominee, do y'all become friends again? Does he offer you a cabinet post again? Do y'all clean this up if he becomes the nominee?
I don't think so. I think some of the stuff he's called me over the last few months, I don't think that's going to happen. And that's sad. But it is the truth of the matter. And it's his doing.
But you're not closing the door to voting for him.
I'm saying I can't support him.
You won't vote for him.
I can't support either one of them.
Okay.
Not Biden or Trump because they're not competent and qualified to be president for different reasons. Joe Biden predominantly because of his age and what we've seen on TV.
So Chris Christie effectively saying, no, I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump if he becomes the nominee.
Might not vote at all in the presidential election because if it is a rematch, he just said he's not voting for either one of them. So that's a solid message from Chris Christie. Don't rock the vote. Don't get out and vote.
That's exactly what he's trying to do. And that's what may happen. I'm not voting for Donald Trump if he is if he is the elected, the front runner in the Republican Party. Wow.
Now, right now, second place in all the polling is Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. He spoke to Martha McCallum of Fox News and said if he becomes the president, he's going to get rid of a couple major agencies that currently exist. the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, energy departments, and the IRS.
Are you in favor of eliminating any agencies? I know conservatives in the past have talked about closing the Department of Education. Would you do that?
So we would do education, we would do commerce, we do energy, and we would do IRS. And so if Congress will work with me on doing that, we'll be able to reduce the size and scope of government. But what I'm also going to do, Martha, is be prepared if Congress won't go that far. I'm going to use those agencies to push back against woke ideology and against the leftism that we see creeping into all institutions of American life.
So getting rid of the IRS, while I applaud that, I would love for that to become true. This almost sounds like grasping at straws here. This is, hey, let's see if we can get some headlines and improve our polling.
I don't see that ever happening. I mean, Joe, it's like, I don't think it's quite on par with Joe Biden saying he's going to cure cancer if he's elected president, but saying you're going to abolish the IRS. Okay, I like the idea in theory, but I don't know about it. I don't know. Got a guy on the other line about some wet walls.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1250, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer. Have you been injured by a dog bite? Let us take on the big insurance companies, and we'll fight to get you the money you deserve. Go to WeWin.com for your free case evaluation. Just click and get help quick. Go to WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
The beautiful new coating that Galaxy put on my garage floor is absolutely stunning. The work they did, you should have seen my garage floor before Galaxy came in and put the new coating on. I thought there was no way they'd be able to make it and turn this around and make it look brand new. It's 4 times as strong. Galaxy Coatings uses polyurea. They don't use epoxy. They use the new standard for coatings. It's called polyurea. By the way, they did this in a day. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or give them a call, 751-9070.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Storms headed this way. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Hamilton, Tipton, and Boone counties, ending at 4:23 today. Marion County under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8. Radar shows a line of storms headed this way from the west, cloudy and 89 downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox for the Michaelis Corporation. Here's what's trending at 3:30. Severe weather is on the way to Indianapolis again.
We have the potential for large hail, damaging winds. The tornado threat is not zero. I don't think it's as high as what it was over the weekend.
Wish TV meteorologist Tara Hastings. A line of storms that's on its way to central Indiana with wind speeds already reaching 60 miles per hour. Again, Marion County under severe thunderstorm watch until 8. The air quality is not great today. Kevin Rowe, a respiratory therapist at Ascension St. Vincent in Kokomo, says you're taking a risk by going outside.
So long-term exposure, and speaking with physicians here through Ascension, can lead to damage of the cardiovascular system.
Rowe says it can lead to coughing, wheezing, and other chronic conditions like asthma and emphysema. President Biden is strongly disagreeing with the Supreme Court's ruling, striking down affirmative action in college admissions.
The dissent states today's decision, quote, rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress, end of quote. I agree with that statement from the dissent.
The court ruled colleges should not consider race as a factor in their admissions decisions. Your former governor, Mike Pence, visited Ukraine today.
For my part, we'll continue to do everything in our power to make sure that we provide the Ukrainian military with the support they need until they repel the Russian invasion and restore the sovereignty of this country.
Pence is the first GOP presidential candidate to make a trip to the country. He's criticized former President Trump for his stance on Ukraine in the past. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:32.
You've undoubtedly heard of the calm before the storm. Well, Michaelis is the calm after the storm. More than 3 decades of restoring damage from wind, rain, and hail. They've got your back, not to mention your front, side, and roof. It's why home and business owners beat a path to Michaelis' door, because it's always answered around the clock with welcome arms. Your port in the storm. From site security and tarping services to complete restoration work, they can handle anything Mother Nature throws your way. Seasoned and trustworthy pros who are never deterred by a little wind and rain, or a mother load of it for that matter. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
The traffic at 3:33. Here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, Southside crash, westbound 465 after Emerson Avenue with stopping traffic. Back to Brookville Road, then stop and go to Washington Street. On the south side, westbound 465, we did clear up at 31. Northbound 37 still stops at Epler. Eastbound 72 downtown, stop and go from Tibbs to Harding. Inbound 65, stop and go from 21st. And inbound 70 grinds from Shadeland Avenue to the North Split. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Celebrate B Window's 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all of their products, plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We're tracking showers and thunderstorms into the holiday. Tonight, a few showers lingering. Tomorrow, starting your day with dry conditions. By late morning, early afternoon, we track showers and thunderstorms, some that could become severe. I'm Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown on 93 WIBC.
Marion County now under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's until 4:15. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
We haven't had a good old-fashioned breakdown in a long time, so let's get Naptown Brian Baker in the mix. Mr. Baker, it's been a bit. How are you?
I'm great, man. I thought I had been shadow banned from the radio station. I didn't know what was going on.
I know you're a big part of what we do here at the Hammer and Nigel Show with your work on AI, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But one of the big headlines, and it's been a crazy news day here in Indy today, Brian, but one of the big national stories is the Supreme Court rejecting affirmative action at colleges, calling it unconstitutional. And of course, Joe Biden's panties are melting. Obama's going to Twitter. What do you think?
Well, there are a couple of different ways to look at this, guys. I mean, this particular policy, I think the Supreme Court ruled in 2003 that colleges could consider race as one of the criteria when they're considering whether or not to admit a student into the university. But as usual with the press, they're making a big deal out of this thing. But really, all this says is that the administration, the college folks that are making the big decisions here, they can't just automatically give you points because you're black or you're a minority of some other sort. They can, however, still consider whether you suffered under racism, you had to overcome racism and challenges and discrimination, and you still managed to thrive and push through and reach your goals. That can be considered when they're trying to make a determination on whether or not to allow you to attend university. And, from my perspective, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that progress? Isn't that truly not only equality, but judging someone based on their performance as an individual? And, if it's not, I mean, there's a couple of ways to look at this. You can either say, okay, affirmative action has been a really effective policy since really it first came into play in the 1960s. And if that's the case, well, then all of the blowback that we hear about how America's so racist and there's still such problems with discrimination, that all goes away, right? We've got just an amazingly successful program. But if that's not the case, then we've had 60, 70 years of testing with this policy to see whether or not affirmative action is good for America and whether it makes any kind of a tangible difference for minorities. And if the case is no, it hasn't done that, then wouldn't you think maybe it's time to retire that policy and maybe come up with something that might be a little bit more effective? Which is it?
You know, one of the things that Joe Biden talked about during his little speech today on the Supreme Court and their ruling was that, look, you guys got it all wrong. Affirmative action isn't someone of lesser quality or lesser educations. He was like, it's someone that's lesser qualified taking a slot. We get them all in a pool. They're all qualified through testing and other means. And then we consider racism. Then we consider the race. So his point was still so off kilter. It's like, no, nobody that's not qualified is taking the spot of somebody that's qualified. All of these people are qualified. We get them into a room, and then we consider race.
And then we pick by race.
I know it's become such a clown show.
And it wasn't in Harvard, by the way. It was the Asian Americans that were getting the shaft. It wasn't white people, white conservatives here. It's the Asian Americans that were affected negatively by this.
Yeah, and, I got a friend, my adopted sister in California, she's a Princeton grad and also a very strong Reagan constitutional conservative. And she grew up in extreme poverty under really hard circumstances. But one thing that her mother was really adamant about is just, you're going to study. You're going to just study your butt off. You're going to read. You're going to learn. You're going to push yourself as hard as you possibly can. And when they showed up and she had all these high marks from high school and had participated in all these extracurricular activities, had done a lot in the local community, they looked at all of that. And even though she had basically no money whatsoever, they looked at what she managed to achieve despite all the obstacles that she had to overcome. And they found a way for her to be able to go to Princeton. And in fact, she graduated without owing them any money. So these colleges, especially the elite universities, they have programs and they have means of helping people if they really have earned the right to have that assistance. But you can't just blanket give things away. If we've learned anything in the United States, it's that just giving people things without any kind of strings attached is never good for the individual, nor is it good for society.
Brian Baker joining us here for the breakdown. Before we get into the Bidenomics, Brian, how are you? I saw some pictures you posted on your social media yesterday.
Oh, man, yeah.
You got into a little nasty car accident. Are you all good?
I'm good. Isn't it amazing how much a head wound can bleed?
Yeah, that was gnarly. Wow, there was blood on your headrest there.
It looked like something out of Goodfellas.
It was really scary, guys. My daughter, myself, my mom, and my dad, we were at the Fort Wayne Zoo for the day, having a nice relaxing afternoon, and then we're driving back, and my father had a little medical emergency. Next thing you know, we are pulling a minor Dukes of Hazzard, flying off the road. We're taking down trees, took out a bench.
Oh,
my poor father had a major head wound, and so they had to send out ambulances. My mother broke her sternum. I will say, however, that in that process, because I have not necessarily had the best experiences at hospitals, but we went to Parkview Hospital in Fort Wayne. Oh my gosh, they are incredible. They are so good at what they do and
Awesome.
are so professional and competent. And and it doesn't hurt that the nurses are all extremely hot. But if I lived in Fort Wayne, I'd be trying to find excuses to go to the hospital. I'd be wrecking my car all the time. But my father and Joe Biden actually have something in common, which is that my father is 80 years old. Now, my father, most people think he's in his late 60s because he is so sharp and he looks like a younger man as well.
Wow.
I've watched Joe Biden, and I've seen the man just attempt to walk, let alone try to drive a car. And I was thinking about this the other day because my daughter was in the vehicle with us, thank God, unharmed. But I thought, Joe Biden's the same age. Would I allow Joe Biden to participate in as a driver in the carpool for my kid at school? Probably not.
No.
I don't think I feel real comfortable with that. I think there's a high degree of possibility that he would get into a horrible accident and perhaps my daughter would lose her life. And I think most Americans, regardless of whether or not they voted for him, we know he's got cognitive issues. They probably would not really feel comfortable with Biden doing that. So why are we allowing him to run the country? Doesn't that seem like maybe that might be a little bit, more consequential than just one person, one life? I think maybe folks need to reconsider before they decide they're going to hold their nose and vote for Biden.
Now, Brian, hold on. Corinne Jean-Pierre says Americans feel better about their personal finances under Biden's policies. Come on now, Brian.
Oh, my God. This administration, guys, they are good at one thing and one thing only, and that is gaslighting the American people. I have never seen it like I have under the Biden administration. It is insane to me, the statements that they make. But like all politicians, they throw these things out. They got their talking points, and people just gobble it up because for some reason or another, we have such a small percentage of people, regardless of age, who actually care about facts, actually care about solutions to problems. They just want their guy to win, and they think all Republicans are bad and Democrats, they've got all the good ideas, or vice versa. And my gosh, you would think after all of the failed policies that we have had for decades and the condition that we find ourselves in now as a country, which is the result of failed policies on both sides of the political aisles, you would think that people would actually wake up and, maybe have a come to Jesus moment, but that doesn't seem to be happening.
So what I'm hearing from you, now correct me if I'm wrong, you're not a fan of Bidenomics. Is that correct?
Bidenomics. By the way, for his strategist, who came up with the idea that for his reelection campaign, with his approval numbers where they are, that they should lead with their biggest failure?
I know.
That's one thing that
it's a disaster.
Both sides of the aisle, they universally agree he sucks on it. The thing about talking about the economy, though, and Biden had his big Bidenomics speech, which was essentially, I guess, supposed to be, it's supposed to be the opposite or the complete reversal of Reaganomics, because Democrats just love to go after Ronald Reagan and trickle down economics. But guys, here are some actual facts that people can look up, and they don't lack any context whatsoever, which is always what happens with Biden's people when they throw out their economic numbers. Trickle-down economics, that approach helps create 20 million new jobs and increased middle-class income by 11% in the 1980s. So it was far from being a failure. The other thing that happened under Reagan, he came in after Carter, and they were dealing with just astronomical inflation. It went from 13.5% in 1980 to 4.1% by 1988, and unemployment fell from 7.6% to 5.5%, and real gross national product rose 26%. So tell me again how trickle-down economics was a failure.
Well, Mr. Baker, you were kind enough to send us a message from world-renowned economist and TV personality Ben Stein.
Oh, wow.
We've got AI Ben Stein standing by to talk a little bit about Bidenomics.
In 2023, the Biden administration made an attempt to raise Joe Biden's approval numbers by touting the supposed benefits of a disastrous economic policy called Anyone? Bidenomics. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? Anyone?
It's good to hear from AI Ben Stein, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Baker.
That question, too.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. If anybody wants to continue this conversation, how do they find you?
They can follow me on Twitter at NaptownBride, but let me also remind you guys that you don't have to be an economic genius or an egghead in order to understand what's going on here or to really look at whether Bidenomics was a success. Take a look at the price of utilities, food, gas prices, interest rates, house prices, health care. Look at all of that and say, is this more or less affordable under Biden than it was under Trump? Is my life easier now than it was before Joe Biden took office? That should pretty much make it clear to you whether Bidenomics has been a rip-roaring success or a disastrous failure.
Brian Baker, you're the best. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
This is a severe weather alert from the Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning Storm Desk.
The National Weather Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Madison County, Shelby County, Hancock County, eastern Morgan County, Johnson County, northern Brown County, northern Bartholomew County, east central Hendricks County, Marion County, southeastern Boone County, and southern Hamilton County until 4:27 p.m. At 3:27, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 6 miles west of Lebanon to Spencer, moving east at 70 miles an hour. Hazards include 70-mile-an-hour winds, and damage is likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Again, the National Weather Service
Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the following counties: southwestern Madison, Shelby County, Hancock County, eastern Johnson County, northern Brown County, northern Bartholomew County in central Indiana, east central Hendricks County, Marion County, southeastern Boone County, and southern Hamilton County until 4:27 p.m.
You're just minutes away from another severe weather update. Brought to you by Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right, we're keeping our eye on a lot of action here at 93 WIBC. Been a very busy news day, and here in just a moment, we're going to check in with Matt Bear at the Traffic Center. But, Nigel, this is why I love this radio station here at WIBC. Live, local, we can talk about news as it happens. So, again, please keep it locked all throughout the afternoon right here to 93 WIBC. We're going to get you up to date on the fallen trooper. We're going to talk about this Broad Ripple story, and we are keeping our eye on these severe storms. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns? The IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-864-9559. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-864-9559. 800-864-9559. That's 800-864-9559.
Get peace of mind for just $59.
Hey Indiana, beat the heat this summer with Peterman Brothers.
And get peace of mind as you watch your monthly energy bills drop when you upgrade to a brand new AC starting at only $59 a month with Peterman.
Or save even more when you upgrade to a qualifying high-efficiency heat pump and get a tax credit of up to $2,000.
Whatever you choose, save money and stay comfortable all summer long.
Visit PetermanHVAC.com to schedule online, and we'll see you tomorrow, guaranteed.
If your wedding anniversary is approaching, that means a visit to Barrington Jewels in Clearwater Crossing. You must see the truly one-of-a-kind creations at Barrington. You'll find exquisite and unique anniversary bands at great prices and with special financing available. Save time and effort and shop Barrington Jewels first. Consider upgrading her diamond, a truly special way to show your love. Plus Swiss and German brand sport watches. Don't wait. Get to Barrington Jewels today. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond. Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville invites competitive golfers to enter the inaugural first annual Bob O'Link Open Saturday, July 8th. 18 holes, USGA rules. First prize $6,000, second prize $3,000, third prize $1,000. Certified USGA 6 handicap or lower are eligible. The first annual Bob O'Link Open Saturday, July 8th at Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville. To find out more, visit antlerpointgolf.com. That's antlerpointgolf.com. Spell point with an E.
Okay, here's our to-do list for the road trip.
Wait a minute, Tire Discounters isn't on here.
That's because I know you'll go there anyway.
I was just on their website.
There's a shock.
They've got a road trip ready sale going on right now. They thought of everything. Oil change, brake and alignment checks, wipers, rotation and balancing.
Okay, go.
Will do.
You love Tire Discounters. You want to marry Tire Discounters.
Honey, we're just friends.
Get your family road trip ready and save.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
In the last 40 years, over 80,000, that's right, 80,000 Indiana families have trusted their home to B Window. Help us celebrate our 40th year anniversary and receive 40% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and up to 20 months, no interest, no payments. Just go to bwindow.com. We'll take care of the rest.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
Faith Prep Academy of Indiana helps children unlock their purpose and explore their passion in a supportive faith-based environment. Faith Prep is a flexible online private school that enables students to reach academic excellence, develop Christian character, and discover their gifts and talents. Now enrolling grades K through 12. 96% of Indiana residents qualify for significant financial aid through the Indiana Choice Scholarship. Learn more at k12.com/faith-in. Faith Prep Academy of Indiana. Learning with purpose.
Receive 40% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and up to 20 months, no interest, no payments. Just go to bwindow.com. We'll take care of the rest.
We have got reports of folks without power. We have got some strong rain coming down right now on Monument Circle. Watches and warnings in effect for most of the WIBC listening area. Matt Bear, what's going on?
Yeah, if you're in the high-end heavy machinery, watch out for the crosswinds here today. Also, lights on, please. Stopped in 2 spots. Eastbound S70 crash at Harding Street. That's going to block the left lane. Traffic stop back to Holt Road. South side eastbound 465 now moving from South Meridian over to South Keystone Avenue. That's shy of 65. Inbound 70 stop and go Shadeland Avenue to 465. Delay continues down to Fletcher. Traffic sponsored by B Windows. Celebrate B Windows' 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all of their products. Plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
We got hard rain coming down here on Monument Circle at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Wind looks like it's blowing pretty hard. I'm looking at the flags. I'm seeing some debris flying around outside, Nigel.
Hammer, my buddy GT just texted me some video around 465 and 865 saying very high winds and hail, and it's the video. It kind of sort of looks like a
funnel cloud,
maybe?
maybe?
Funnel cloud might start. Nothing official, nothing that we've seen so far officially to say that. But yeah, Zionsville, I know, is without power right now. Or at least I know my house is.
My house, too. I got a text from Crystal. Yeah. Our house is without power. So if you're somewhere where there's some crazy action going on and you can be safe, and that's the most important part here, if you can do it safely, please take a photo, send it to us. We'll post it on Twitter at Hammer and Nigel. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for pretty much all of central Indy right now, and we'll have the latest coming up with the news at the top of the hour. So, Nigel, in honor of these thunderstorms that are making their way through, choose your own adventure here. Do you want to hear AC/DC's Thunderstruck performed by a montage of baby sounds? Or do you want to hear AC/DC's Thunderstruck performed by an old washing machine, a hillbilly with a guitar, and a hammer?
I got it. Baby noises.
Baby noises? Okay, here we go. A montage of baby noises.
I love it.
Is that Rob Kendall's baby?
It's Olivia.
Baby Olivia. By the way, congratulations to our pal Rob Kendall. He's a new dad. You know what? Screw it. Can we hear the other one too?
The hillbilly with the...
This is an old washing machine, a hillbilly with a guitar, and a sledgehammer.
I was caught
That's what's kind of happening out there right now for a lot of people in Central Indy. Nigel, how was your Olive Garden last night?
Oh, man, it was delicious. The service was great. My father-in-law, John, it was his birthday, took the family out, and I got it. You know, I love good service. I love... They were a well-oiled machine there at Olive Garden there on Michigan Road in Carmel. Shout out to... ask for Lauren to be your waitress. She was great. And, you know, in a day and age where not a lot of businesses have great service right now, they were a well-oiled machine there, man.
And everybody always complains about bad service. It's important to let people know when they do things right. All right, do not go anywhere. Coming up next, a local bar owner, Tom Sutton, will join us in studio. We'll get his perspective on what's happening right now Man, a lot of bar owners not happy with what's happening in the city of Indianapolis. We'll talk to him about that. Plus, an update on this severe weather making its way through Indy. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What is your relationship with Robert Birchtold?
Well, he's practically a member of the family.
Based on the true story.
He gets these impulsive moods.
From the executive producer of The Act and Candy.
He will lie and manipulate to get the only thing he wants.
Where is Jan? Where is she?
Your husband kidnapped her.
Hello?
A friend of the family.
Everything I did was to get closer to you.
Streaming now only on Peacock.
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, Johnson County's American Standard independent heating and air conditioning dealer, invites you to celebrate America's birthday with them and have a shot at winning a Yeti cooler. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling will be at the Franklin Firecracker Festival Monday evening, July the 3rd, by the stage with giveaways and a chance to win a new Yeti cooler. See you at Youngs Creek Park in Franklin. And with the hot weather, if you need AC service, visit callthemarshallnow.com. Marshall is your American Standard air dealer.
At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialist can handle any AC repair. Just call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourair.com.
Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
At Indiana University, we're building on more than a century of innovation in Indianapolis to create the nation's premier urban research university. We're preparing more STEM leaders to fuel our economy, graduating more medical professionals to improve Hoosier health, changing the world with more groundbreaking discoveries, and creating a brighter future for everyone. It's all happening right here at Indiana University, Indianapolis. Visit vision.iu.edu to learn more.
This is a severe weather alert from the Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning Storm Desk.
The National Weather Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Monroe County, southern Brown County, southwestern Bartholomew County, southeastern Knox County, Martin County, southeastern Greene, Lawrence, western Jackson, and southern Davies County until 4:30 p.m. At 3:39, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Spencer to near Vincennes, moving southeast at 60 miles an hour. Hazardous winds at 70 miles an hour could cause damage to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Hail damage possible as well. Again, the National Weather Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the following counties: Monroe, southern Brown, southwestern, southeastern Knox County, southeastern Greene County, Martin County, Lawrence, western Jackson, southern Davies, until 4:55.
You're just minutes away from another severe weather update. Brought to you by Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning.
The president says discrimination still exists in the country and that the Supreme Court opinion cannot be a permanent setback.
It's a simple fact. If a student had to overcome adversity on their path to education, the college should recognize and value that.
The Departments of Justice and Education are outlining clarity for colleges and universities on admissions policies still allowed by law.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The group that sued on behalf of Asian American students says the ruling begins to restore a colorblind legal covenant. that binds the nation together. The U.S. economy growing more than first thought in the first quarter, a 2% rate in the government's revised report instead of 1.3%, and fueled by consumers spending at the fastest pace in nearly 2 years. The Dow up 269 points at the closing bell. America is listening to Fox News.
'93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They're off the roster. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for several central Indiana counties. That includes Marion, Johnson, Hancock, Hamilton, Boone, and Morgan counties, plus a few others. The storm's producing strong winds up to 70 miles per hour, along with heavy rain. Trees could be knocked down and winds that are that strong. The warning currently in some of the counties lasting until 4:55 this afternoon. You can get more information on Twitter at 93 WIBC. You can also stay up to date with severe weather updates right here on 93 WIBC. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. The Indianapolis Colts have waived 2 of their players for violating the NFL's gambling policy.
And that means they're both no longer on the active roster. I'm Sean Herrick. The Colts waived cornerback Isaiah Rodgers and outside linebacker Rashad Berry after they were both suspended by the NFL indefinitely. They can apply for reinstatement into the league at the end of the 2023 season. Colts general manager Chris Ballard says he's going to keep educating his staff and players about the consequences of violating the league's gambling policy. Sean Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Former Indiana Governor Mike Pence says U.S. support for Ukraine is crucial. That's why he made a surprise visit to the country today.
Because it will make it clear to Russia, to China, and to any other nations in the world that would seek to redraw international lines by force, that the free world will not stand for it. The free world will stand together for freedom. And it's my great honor to help deliver that message here in Ukraine today.
The U.S. recently announced another $500 million military aid package for the country. You may now be speaking to someone from across the state when you call 911. Sam Fritz reports.
911 call centers across the state are experiencing staffing shortages. Senate Bill 43, which goes into effect July 1st, aims to help fix that by allowing 911 operators to live outside the communities that they serve. Previously, an operator was required to reside in the area that they served. This bill hopes to encourage people to apply for open positions without having to worry about relocating. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Everyone wants the perfect man cave or lady lair in their basement, but creating the perfect space can be a nightmare if your hard work and valuables are ruined by wet carpet, mold, infestations, water bubbling up your drywall, and toxic air quality. Set your oasis up for success with basement waterproofing solutions by Indiana Foundation Service. They're not here to sell you Band-Aids for your basement and foundation. Indiana Foundation Service will work with you to find the permanent solution. Their expertise and local roots mean that they know what works and what doesn't. From wall anchors to vapor barriers and sump pumps to dehumidifiers, they can do it all, including encapsulation of your crawl space too, and making that a safe space for your valuable home appliances and even storage. Go to IndianaFoundation.com for a free inspection and no-pressure quote today. Their experts will inspect your whole home to find the root of the issue and fix it once and for all. That's IndianaFoundation.com. There's a reason they've been around so long.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Bear.
Yeah, Harrison, we are stopped all over in parts of the city right now. Northbound 465 jam before 86. On the south side, eastbound 465 stops from 70 over to Man Road. Then again before 31, 265. Also on the south side, southbound 465 stops 74 to Arlington Avenue. Eastbound 70, that's a crash after Harding blocking the left lane, stopping traffic back to Holt Road. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center once again mentioning that several counties in central Indiana under a severe thunderstorm warning, ending at different times within this hour unless they get extended. That warning does include Marion County. You can stay up to date on Twitter at 93 WIBC. Also, you get severe weather updates from Donnie Burgess and Hammer and Nigel by listening to 93 WIBC. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. About an hour from now, FOP President Rick Snyder joining us live on the air to talk about the tragic situation. Indiana State Police Trooper Aaron Smith losing his life in the line of duty last night during a high-speed crash. It all started kind of near you, right? The
Ameriplex area, on the southwest side.
Took off towards Ronald Reagan Parkway and 70, and Trooper Smith was putting down those stop sticks, which is meant to flatten the tires of the car they were chasing. The car careened and hit him, and tragically killing him in the line of duty. And we will speak with FOP President Rick Snyder a little bit after 5 o'clock.
We're also keeping our eye on this weather system making its way through central Indy right now between AES and Duke Energy. Approximately 60,000 people are without power. So we've got a little thread going on Twitter at Hammer and Nigel, kind of a roll call. If you are without power and yet you're still listening to our program, add to the list, because we want to see how far this power outage is going because of the storm system making its way through not only torrential rain, but 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well. So we have a lot of stuff going on here today.
It looks like it's moving through pretty quick, from what I can tell. I know definitely in Zionsville, my wife, yep, no power. Who knows when that'll come on? But what? 60,000?
Approximately 60,000 in the state of Indiana without power right now.
That happened quick.
Another big story we're keeping our eye on is the crime in the city and how that relates to businesses, bar owners, restaurant owners. The Broad Ripple Village Association, they have announced that a lot of the bar owners got together in Broad Ripple and said, you know what? We don't want to be blamed for all of this nonsense. We're going to close down early. We're going to close at 1 o'clock. We're going to sacrifice making some money so you guys can see we're not the problems here. Now, joining us in studio is an Indianapolis area bar owner, longtime friend of ours, Tom Sutton from Coach's Tavern.
Hey, Tom.
How you doing, man?
Hello, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here today.
Thanks for the beer, by the way.
Oh, no problem. Got some Jamaican Red Stripe beer. It's summertime.
Yeah.
So.
Nigel was hoping you'd bring Bud Light, by the way.
No, don't get me started.
I actually we want to ask you about Bud Light here in just a few minutes, but we'll get to the pertinent issues first.
So as a bar owner, somebody who's got a prominent location, your bar, Coach's Tavern, kind of diagonal from the field house here in Indianapolis on Pennsylvania, have you seen problems around the city that have been concerning to you as somebody trying to run a business?
I mean, sure. You know, it seems like every weekend, either in Broad Ripple or sometimes even here downtown Indy, we have some bad actors that show up and just want to wreak havoc, and they want an audience, of course, in front of them. So they go where it's crowded, and it's scary for us.
How bad has it escalated over the last couple of years? Because you've been the owner, along with your co-owner Adam, for a number of years at this bar.
15
years now, which is an amazing run, by the way. How bad has the situation in the city declined, in your view?
It really seems like, and you're right, the last couple of years, seems like after COVID, everything just went to hell. And people forgot how to act. There's no decency amongst people anymore.
Like compare Indy to when Super Bowl was here. Now that was back in 2012, I believe.
2012.
So over a decade ago. How has Indy, in your eyes, changed for the better or the worse since then?
Well, I mean, we have a higher murder per capita than Chicago, if that tells you anything, and that's just ridiculous. That a city we're not a small city, but we're not Chicago, and we have more murders than they do per capita.
We have more ankle monitors total than anybody in the country.
Well, yeah, we got to let the violent offenders out so they can hurt somebody again.
Do you see a lot of the same knuckleheads creating problems around your bar?
We're actually pretty fortunate. We don't really have a lot of the bad actors on Pennsylvania Street. They tend to go over and bother Meridian Street. Feel sorry for my burners over there, but we've been pretty fortunate. But as I walk through the city every day to go somewhere for lunch, I see the same people, just talking to themselves and just completely out
You're
of it.
lucky if they're talking to themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're doing other things to themselves.
That's where we have, we dump our trash on Scioto Street. That's where our dumpster is. And I've seen some things I didn't care to see back there taking some trash out. So,
what about one of the things that Boss Hogsett said after the shootings in Broad Ripple over the weekend is that he took some of the blame to the bar owners and business owners. Now, while I think most business and bar owners are operating, on the level, I do believe that there probably are some bar owners that are fostering this kind of thing, that are inhibiting, or not inhibiting, but enhancing and making things easier for this thing to happen.
Yeah, there might be. I don't really know of any personally that are doing that, when we all want to have a safe space for our employees, for our guests, for us. So I don't know if I see that, but it may be an issue.
So this Broad Ripple Village Association, they have announced that the bar owners got together and said, we're not going to be your scapegoat here. We're going to close at 1:00. You have a bar in downtown Indianapolis. I'm just curious, from one bar owner to watching what others are doing, would you have played ball and done the same thing?
Absolutely not, because usually between 1 and 3 is when we get much of our business. It's usually all the industry people getting off work from the restaurants. They come in and they spend tons of money. So it would be a big L for us.
Because you're downtown by the hotel district. So I think that is a little different maybe than just being out in Broad Ripple.
Correct.
Where
we've got 3
a lot of
hotels
younger
around
folks
the corner from us. So
do you think the right decision was made based on their location and what they're doing? If you, Tom Sutton, owned a bar right there on the heart of Broad Ripple Avenue, would you have said, all right, we're going to play ball, we're going to close down at 1:00 like everybody else?
I do think it's very noble what they did. And obviously, safety needs to come first. You can't put money over lives. So I do respect what they've done. And I don't know if it's going to solve the issue. It might just be a Band-Aid, which Joe Hogsett's good at putting Band-Aids on things.
It's embarrassing they have to do this in the first place.
It is because City Hall will not give IMPD, they won't let them do their jobs. If I'm a cop in this city, I'm scared to death to shoot somebody.
That's creating a problem and all this. Right. I get that. I totally understand that. It's so embarrassing, though, that the bar owners have to say, we're going to close down, so you can't blame us because you can't handle what's happening in the city. Between Joe Hogsett's, air quotes, leadership and Ryan Mears allowing people to get right back out on the streets, this is embarrassing that this city that hosted a Super Bowl not that long ago, that's hosting the NBA All-Star Game next year, can't even have their bars open until 2:00.
It is embarrassing, and that's a total reflection on the, as you said, quote-unquote, leadership in this city. I get a lot of IMPD officers that come in for lunch, and they tell me they're arresting the same people every couple of months. Like, I just arrested this guy, and he's out on an ankle bracelet.
Right. They're really good about putting an ankle bracelet on repeat offenders here. So that way, when this repeat offender goes out and does another crime and hurts somebody, they'll know right where he is. Exactly.
Hey, Tom, so for a couple of months now, we've been talking about Bud Light and how that marketing campaign went sideways with Dylan Mulvaney. I wouldn't even know who this dude was except for this Bud Light situation. They put him on the can or whatever, and he's a guy that cosplays as a 13-year-old girl. And then you have the marketing side of it where, what was her name? Hammer? The
Heinerschneid.
Heinerschneid.
Alyssa Heinerschneid.
Was, set this whole thing in motion. We need a different customer base. Our customer base is fratty. And they basically trashed their bread and butter in terms of customers. So you're a guy that is in the bar business and has been selling Bud Light for years. Have you noticed anything, or is this kind of like a national thing that's been blown out of proportion a little bit?
We've definitely seen a decline in Bud Light sales. I actually do my beer orders Wednesday for today, and I didn't order any Bud Light this week at all. We have it in draft and on bottles, and I usually order at least a keg a week and 10 cases, and nothing this week.
So this isn't something, like Nigel said, that's been blown up out of proportion by right-wing talking points. You're a business owner. You're all about the money, and this stuff isn't being sold.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing to me is stupid. Is it doesn't really doesn't affect Anheuser-Busch as much as it affects the local distributors. Like Zinc Distributing here in Indy, they're the ones getting the hardest hit.
Yeah, what's your rep say? I mean, what are those guys
Yeah, and my
say?
rep's, he's commission-based, so that's it's hurting him.
So, again, one more thing before we wrap it up here. As somebody that has a bar in downtown Indianapolis, if Joe Hogsett's listening right now, if Ryan Mears is listening right now, what would be your message on behalf of fellow business owners to the gruesome twosome there?
A, let IMPD do their jobs, have their back, and B, Mr. Mears, put these animals in cages and keep them there.
Tom Sutton, owner, Coach's Tavern, my man, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, Matt Bear, I'm still looking out the window here. Looks like the nasty part has left downtown Indy. It's still pretty dark. We've got some rain happening here. What's the result of the roads?
Yeah, it didn't leave us with much. We have lights all over town, traffic lights because of the power outages with AES. I've been talking Meridian Kessler neighborhood. Allisonville Road has really been hit here this afternoon. Watch out for that. Please take turns. Stopped eastbound 70 at Harding. Crash left lane. Traffic stop back to Holt Road. Inbound 65 stop before 38th Kessler down to 21st Street. Southbound 465 stop traffic before 70 over to Man Road, and eastbound 465 stopped at 31. Traffic sponsored by B Windows. Celebrate B Windows' 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all their products plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Looking out the window at Monument Circle, still have some rain. Wind is not as bad here at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center, but to get us completely up to date, here's an update with Donnie Burgess.
This is a severe weather alert from the Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning Storm Desk.
The National Weather Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the following counties: South Central Bartholomew, Eastern Jackson, Jennings, Hancock, and Decatur until 5:12 p.m. At 4:10, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 7 miles southwest of Columbus to 11 miles east of Bedford, moving east at 60 miles an hour. Hazards include 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect considerable tree damage. Wind damage is also likely to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Again, the National Weather Service in Indianapolis has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for South Central Bartholomew County, Eastern Jackson County, Jennings County, Hancock, and Decatur until 5:12 p.m.
You're just minutes away from another severe weather update. Brought to you by Chapman Heating and Air Conditioning.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
GeoFocus Academy is the premier online private school for Indiana students, helping students build a successful future regardless of race, income, or geographic boundaries. 96% of Indiana residents qualify to attend tuition-free using the Indiana Choice Scholarship. With certified teachers and hands-on learning from home, you can create a bright future for your child. Now enrolling grades K through 12 for the 2023-2024 school year. Learn more at k12.com/GFA. GeoFocus Academy, where education clicks.
Response to Diamonds Direct's amazing finance offer has been off the charts, so we're extending it through this Saturday. You can go into the holiday weekend with some new bling and spread your payments over as long as 5 years with special financing, or save up to $5,000 on the spot. It's our best finance offer ever and our most aggressive pricing. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable, but this amazing offer ends this Saturday and will not be extended. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Be Honest Bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-864-9559. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-864-9559. 800-864-9559. That's 800-864-9559.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll. Hammer, how do we play? Is this anything?
I am going to run a couple different stories by you. You simply tell us if the stories in question are anything or not. Is this anything? There's a new trend with Gen Z where they're videoing themselves quitting their job and posting it onto social media.
Boy.
It's called live quitting, and here's one posted to TikTok.
Hi. Hey, how's it going? Good. Or not? I can't say it. I don't know how to say it. I know. I knew it was coming when you said that. I'm going to cry. Look, if it's what you feel like you need to do, then I totally get it. We will be so sad and we'll miss you. But I'm excited for you and you'll do awesome.
And by the way, why are you videotaping this with your phone? What a dope. That is what Gen Z is all about. Everything you do, anything, everywhere you go, any interaction you have with anybody, it's got to be on TikTok. Live quitting as opposed to quiet quitting. You know what quiet quitting is?
You just mail it in, right?
You just mail it in. You'd barely do the minimum and then collect a paycheck for as long as possible until somebody wises to the game. No, this is nothing. Be a professional, for God's sake. She works for a social media company. I guess if you're working for a social media company, it would make sense maybe that you do live stream. You're quitting. Bar owner Tom Sutton is still in here. From Coach's Tavern downtown. Has anybody quit in an unusual way in the past 15 years of Coach's Tavern being in business?
We've had a couple of rage quitters, but I mean,
really?
they didn't. I mean, just people that you constantly have to supervise and tell them the same things over and over and over to the point where it wears me out and them out, and they just say, F it, I'm out of here.
So what you're saying is that it's time for great moments in quitting here on the Hammer and Nigel show.
Okay.
We're going to start with Andrew Luck.
But I am going to retire. This is not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life.
No, that's a quit. You quit right before the regular season starts and set the franchise back to the point to where they still haven't recovered.
I was at that preseason game, man. And the boos after that game of him, because we had pretty much all found out via our phones.
During the game.
During the game. And then towards the end, the last thing, one of the best quarterbacks besides Peyton Manning ever to play for the Indianapolis Colts, the last thing he hears walking out of the tunnel are boos.
The timing was so bad.
It was bad, so.
You quit on your team right before the season. Great moments in quitting. This was an Alaska news reporter who decided to leave her job to focus on her weed business.
Now, everything you heard is why I, the actual owner of the Alaska Cannabis Club, will be dedicating all of my energy toward fighting for freedom and fairness, which begins with legalizing marijuana here in Alaska. And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but I quit.
All right, we apologize for that. We'll be right back.
Live on the air.
I mean, you've got to applaud that woman. That was great. And I quit.
Last but certainly not least, this is how I visualize somebody quitting at Coach's Tavern, Tom. This is Scarface quitting in Half Baked.
You're cool. You, I'm out.
Great moments in quitting.
Very good.
On the Hammer and Nigel show. Is this anything? This couple at a hotel is asking the clerk to give them a refund because they found boogers and blood on the wall of their hotel room.
Oh.
Did we not just complain to you about this?
I'm not even going to discuss with you anything.
What do you mean you're not going
to?
We are clients.
What are you talking
about?
We just booked the room and we're telling you that there's blood on the wall.
We've been complaining since we got here.
There's blood in the room and you're not doing anything about it.
Chill, babe, chill. We've documented this already. Okay. And you just acknowledged that. So you're acknowledging you just came up to our room and cleaned boogers off our wall, right?
He's going to puke again.
I don't even know if
they were boogers and blood.
Okay.
Right?
It still could have been your
right?
boogers or your blood.
Did you hear that, Nige? Boogers and blood on the wall. Maybe there's a hair in it, too. I'm not real sure. It's on the wall. It's sick.
Nigel's losing it.
Got him again, baby. We got him again. There's the trash can. If you're on YouTube, you can see it right now. This would, I believe, be number 4. The 4th time. Allison, is this your virgin experience for Nigel puking in the studio?
Unfortunately, this is my second. I've been working here since February.
Go to break. Go to break.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Wake up your taste buds with Bluebell Java Jolt, a delicious pint of coffee ice cream with dark chocolate flavored chunks and a decadent coffee fudge swirl. It's the jolt you need to perk up your day.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at Safeway Foods and Harvest Supermarkets.
Have you thought about buying a hot tub? Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Now is a great time to invest in your rejuvenation. We've worked hard to build back inventory these last 2 years, and our showrooms are packed. We've got new models, scratch and dents, and even several demos ready for delivery. No more waiting months. Our hot tubs can be yours today. Experience the difference for yourself. Visit us online at royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
While the warm weather has you feeling like new, get old with a money market account from Old National Bank and earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield. Whether you're saving up for something big or just for a rainy day, Old National is here for you. Earn 5.00% APY with our limited time 12-month introductory money market offer. To earn the promotional rate, account must be funded with a minimum of $10,000 not on deposit at Old National as of April 14th, 2023. Learn more at oldnational.com or visit a local banking center today. Offer not available online. Member FDIC. Old National Bank. Get old.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he was doing in Ukraine. The severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County is over, but the watch stays in effect until 8. AES Indiana has over 19,000 customers without power around Indianapolis. Radar shows you're still going to get some rain even after the worst of the storm has passed. It's 84 and cloudy downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 431. Your former governor Mike Pence visited Ukraine Thursday.
For my part, we'll continue to do everything in our power to make sure that we provide the Ukrainian military with the support they need until they repel the Russian invasion and restore the sovereignty of this country.
Pence is the first GOP presidential candidate to make a trip to the country. He's criticized former President Trump for his stance on Ukraine in the past. President Biden is not happy with the Supreme Court after an opinion struck down college affirmative action policies. Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
President Biden says he strongly disagrees with the 6 justices who voted to end affirmative action policies at private and public universities.
This is not a normal court.
The president says discrimination still exists in the country and that the Supreme Court opinion cannot be a permanent setback.
It's a simple fact. If a student had to overcome adversity on their path to education, the college should recognize and value that.
The Departments of Justice and Education are outlining clarity for colleges and universities on admissions policies still allowed by law. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The former school resource officer has been found not guilty for his response to the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Scott Peterson was the only armed officer at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School at the time of the 2018 shooting that killed 17 people and hurt 17 others. He was accused of failing to take action to confront the gunman as shots were fired. The Indianapolis Colts have waived 2 of their players for violating the NFL's gambling policy. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry are the 2 players no longer on the Colts roster. They've been suspended by the NFL indefinitely. Your stock report today, the Dow was up by 269 at 34,122. The NASDAQ dropped by less than a point to 13,591, and the S&P 500 up by 19 points today to 4,396. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
The Indiana Derby is one of the best days of summer. It's the state's biggest horse racing event with over $1 million in total purse money on the line. This is Racing Rachel inviting you to Horseshoe Indianapolis, Saturday, July 8th for all the fun. The Indiana Derby has a loaded card with 8 stakes races featuring some of the nation's top 3-year-old thoroughbreds. And off track at Horseshoe Indianapolis, we've got loads of other Derby entertainment for fans too, like a free cigar rolling station for the first 500 people, a hat contest and free handicapping contest, a $3,000 megabet drawing, a jockey virtual reality racing experience, merch giveaways, and more. All ages are welcome, plus admission and parking are free. First race is noon, and racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating both indoors and out. So join us for the Indiana Derby, July 8th at Horseshoe Indianapolis, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Come on out and have a day.
With traffic at 434, here's Matt Baer.
Harrison, these power outages are causing a lot of trouble. I'm looking at Allisonville Road right now at 71st. We're backed up in both directions, and it is a bad backup there. Also, looking at Fall Creek Parkway at 30th Street, lights out right now. Outbound Fall Creek backed up to Meridian Street. And then we have an outage right now, 86 at Township Line Road, 86th Street, really bad in both directions right now. And watch out for Michigan Road is 79th, backed up in both directions from 79th Street. Traffic sponsored by B Windows. Celebrate B Windows' 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all of their products. Plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning in Marion County ended just over 15 minutes ago. That watch stays in effect until 8 p.m. Matt Baer talking about electrical issues. AES Indiana has over 19,000 customers in Indianapolis without power right now. And again, still going to stay rainy for a little bit. 84 cloudy downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with his Special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
Charlie Arnold of Outkick joins us. Make sure you catch her upcoming show, getting ready to launch on Outkick right before football season. Miss Charlie, how the hell are you?
I've been good. Nice to talk to you guys again.
So we're going to get in.
Wait a minute.
Again, right.
Wow.
Right. We were going to ask, you came on our podcast show at a bar a number of years ago. This is before you became next level superstar, and you kicked it with us bums, and we had drinks, and we had a good time. We thought for sure there was no way you remembered that.
Oh my God, of course I remembered it. Well, come on. What do you think? The reason I've got to where I've gotten is since I'm a highly intelligent woman. I remember things. I'm
Well, man, we're excited for all the success that you've had from Fox 59, going through ESPN, of course, the UFC, the WWE, and now Outkick. So congratulations on all of your success. Let's get into it here a little bit. So you posted a tweet the other day that I thought was really interesting. You were talking about RFK Jr. Now, this is the dude running against Joe Biden. He's not getting any attention from the mainstream traditional media. But at the same time, he's polling close to 20% of the vote here. So my question to you, Charlie, does Joe Biden have a problem, or is this more of RFK Jr. resonating with people?
Yeah, I don't think I would call it a problem, because the thing with RFK Jr. is he just is, from a Democratic standpoint, there's just so many issues that I don't think he falls in line with the traditional values that they hold right now, which are mostly insane. But that's, a conversation for another day. So I don't really see too much of a threat. I mean, Joe Biden will be the candidate. I don't care what happens unless he is deemed to just be unfit to serve, which I do think is a very definite possibility. But if it's not him, I firmly believe it's going to be Gavin Newsom. So I don't think RFK Jr. really poses a threat. I think he more will attract the votes of the independent thinkers rather than the Democrats. But, he's interesting. And I think for once, even conservatives are looking at him saying,
Right.
I don't know that I would necessarily vote for him, but it's not something they were just writing off automatically, which I like. I think it's nice to have candidates who don't confine themselves into those stereotypical boxes as far as political parties go. So, and listen, he's got a great body, so it's something nice to look at, if nothing else.
He is pretty cut. Like, Joe Biden's go-to insult is, how many push-ups you want to do here, Jack?
That's right.
He can't do that with RFK. RFK will whip his ass in that category.
I know. It's like two very different threats or sentences coming from Joe Biden, where it's like, okay, Grandpa, shut up. And then from RFK Jr., like, oh my God, please don't hurt me.
Last thing on RFK Jr. here is, we know Joe Biden's going to be the nominee unless he decides to step down for health reasons or whatnot.
Or he's impeached by Kevin McCarthy.
There's that too.
Right.
But man, I think it's really telling that this guy, RFK Jr., is getting about 20% of the vote. To me, that's an indictment on Joe Biden more than it is anything else.
Oh my God, listen, Joe Biden indicts himself. I mean, every day he's saying just the stupidest things, like yesterday talking about how Putin is involved with the, Iraq and whatever he said. And it's just embarrassing, because we are the greatest country in the world, and we have a leader who literally just, he's just senile. It's kind of sad in a way, because you make fun of him, but this guy is clearly losing his mind. Like, even he showed up yesterday with the band on his face, the imprint. It's from like a sleep apnea device. Like, we just have a completely unfit president, and the rest of the world, it can't even take us seriously. I mean, think about all the world leaders who hold power or consider themselves of high regard, which, is all of them. And they're just like, okay, this guy, what has the United States come to? So it's very embarrassing, actually.
Charlie Arnold with us of Outkick. So how has your summer of Pride been going, Charlie? Because according to Admiral Rachel Levine, it's no longer just Pride Month. It's the summer of Pride.
Oh, well, if you ask the White House just the other day, Joe Biden, again, we have to bring up this idiot once again. He was like, Happy Pride Month, Happy Pride Year, Happy Pride Life. And I'm like, oh, my God, why? Yeah. Why? And you know what? Here's the other thing. I live at the epicenter of where the Pride Parade just took place this past weekend. I was barricaded in my apartment, and not by personal choice. I couldn't get out. Like, there was barricades everywhere. I had to walk 2-3 blocks in one way and go down the street just to get to the coffee shop that was right down the block from me. So it was infuriating for that matter, but also just the scenes that I witnessed were just disgusting. And I actually feel for a lot of that community who lives their lives in a very decent manner. They just want to be themselves.
Right. So what did you see specifically? Because that's the big argument. I have no problem if somebody wants to have a wholesome pride parade where they're proud of who they are, they're proud of who they love, that's fine. But when you have grown men in diapers twerking in front of kids, that's where you draw the line, right?
Yeah. There was signs celebrating abortions. There were signs for top surgery surgeons. There was I walked into a hotel actually down the street from me because I was going to have brunch, and it had a rooftop, and it was a beautiful day. So I was like, okay, let me go have lunch on this roof. And I walk in, and immediately I see this little boy. He's half naked, looked like he had just jumped out of a pool. I'm not sure if he was in a pool or just happened to be shirtless for another reason, but he was young. I'm talking maybe 7 years old. And I asked the hostess, and I'm like, what's going on over there? Because it was just a weird thing to see. And she's like, oh, there's a drag brunch or a drag show. And I'm like, you're joking. Because the first thing I saw was this half naked little boy. And I'm like, suddenly I was like, I'm sorry, I cannot support this restaurant. I can't be here. And I left. But it's just things like that really make you mad, because it's one thing to want to live your life and, do it as fine. We don't care what you do.
Right.
You don't care what I do. I don't care what you do. But don't involve the children. And don't be degenerate about it, and don't make a scene. It's easy. But the problem is there's a subsect of the LGBTQ community who all they want to do is make a scene, and their whole goal is to brainwash children. And it's just gotten to the point where I think a lot of people have a hard time getting behind the community, and it's actually hindering them rather than helping them.
It is, because pride at one time was worth honoring. It was a way to honor the struggle that homosexuals faced for decades in this country, civil rights, and the kind of "we're here, we're queer, we're coming after your children" chants.
Oh my God, stop.
Actually robbing the homosexual community of their achievements that are worth to them celebrating. They've hijacked it. They've bastardized it.
Precisely.
Charlie Arnold with us. So take me through, as a UFC aficionado here, Charlie, take me through Elon Musk against Mark Zuckerberg in a cage match here, because very few people can break this down the way that you can. You are the pro's pro when it comes to these types of situations. Musk against Zuckerberg. What are we talking about here?
So what we're talking about is a fight that could actually happen. I think that's the biggest question. Is this a joke? And it is not a joke. Even when I saw it on my Twitter, I was like, oh, ha, ha, Elon Musk trolling once again, which is one of my favorite reasons to follow Elon Musk. But Dana White reached out to both of them personally. He already had a pretty good relationship with Mark Zuckerberg, because Mark Zuckerberg has been training in jiu-jitsu for some time now. So him and Dana White became buddies, just through their commonalities. But he reached out to both of them. They both said they're dead serious about it. Like I said, Mark Zuckerberg already trains in MMA. Elon Musk, not so much. But also, if we know anything about Elon Musk, what he wants, he gets, such as his acquisition of Twitter, which he was willing to pay way over value for. But he's doing it for the greater good of our world. It's not just because he wants to own a tech company. And I think that he's going to put in some serious hours in the gym. I know that there are several people who have already offered their services to train him, such as, I think Tito Ortiz is one.
Okay.
Who else did I see? I saw, it's escaping me right now, but there's another name who also said same thing. They're willing to train Elon Musk, because everybody who has some common sense and is on, the side of the good guys wants Elon Musk to win. So I don't know. I think it could end up being a real good fight. And even if it's not a great fight, everybody is not going to be able to help themselves but to tune in. So it will be, like Dana White predicted, the best-selling fight in history.
I kind of feel like the gambling degenerate in me, Charlie, feels like I did when the Colts used to play the Patriots in the playoffs. I want one side to win, but if I'm betting money, I'm betting the evil empire here. I want Elon Musk to win. I want him to win so bad, but I got a feeling that weirdo, pasty white dude from Facebook is going to beat the hell out of him.
That's actually funny. We'll see. It'll be fun just to see. I think the working up towards the fight once it's eventually booked. just to hear the developments. I'm sure they'll both be putting out content constantly about their training and all that. So that'll be fun as well.
Hey, one more thing before we let you go. We're speaking with Charlie Arnold, her new morning show on Outkick debuting very soon ahead of the football season, and she's also a Fox News contributor. Charlie, just tell me what your experience at Outkick has been like for you so far and why you decided to leave ESPN and go there.
Yeah, so the experience has been phenomenal so far. It's just really cool to be able to speak so freely about really anything. I mean, I'm talking sports, I'm talking politics, I'm talking news, pop culture. And I think anybody who has known me, whether you've gotten a glimpse of me, professionally, it's been kind of tough because throughout my career, I've had to kind of keep a muzzle on it. But if you know me from a personal standpoint, you are not at all surprised to hear me saying the things that I'm saying. So it's nice to be able to publicly say those things and have a platform to do it, in a platform where they also believe in having free speech, in speaking, your truth and all that. And I think it's great. And I love that I'm not confined to one topic. I can really show my range. And I'm just super excited for this morning show because I always knew in my heart I was meant to be on a morning show. I just have the energy. It's the time of day I feel at my best. And I love having the ability to wake up with people and fill them in on what they need to know and bring a smile to their face. And the coolest thing about the show is because it hasn't even been created yet, there's so much freedom in terms of creativity and what it can be. And it's cool to be on the ground floor and just be able to, as I imagine, watch it grow from day to day, month to month, and year to year.
Well, Charlie, we're excited for you. You still got a crap ton of fans here in Indy. We're rooting for you, and we'd love to have you back on the show.
Anytime.
All right, Charlie Arnold of Outkick, this is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. My friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Seminars 8 p.m. on Thursday, July 20th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville, or 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 22nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
All right, Hammer, I'm sick and tired of eating out at the same old places. That's why I go to Jay's Lobster and Fish Market. It's right there in the Garage Food Hall at Bottle Works District. I could eat the lobster mac and cheese every day, 3 meals a day for a year.
It's so good. And you know what else is good there? Palavano Cubano.
Oh, are you kidding me?
The best Cuban food in Indy. And the atmosphere is amazing. You walk through the Garage Food Hall, it's like you're going through Vegas. So whether you're getting a little lobster mac and cheese or a Cuban sandwich, tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
At Indiana University, we're building on more than a century of innovation in Indianapolis to create the nation's premier urban research university. We're preparing more STEM leaders to fuel our economy, graduating more medical professionals to improve Hoosier health, changing the world with more groundbreaking discoveries, and creating a brighter future for everyone. It's all happening right here at Indiana University, Indianapolis. Visit vision.iu.edu to learn more.
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, Johnson County's American Standard independent heating and air conditioning dealer, invites you to celebrate America's birthday with them and have a shot at winning a Yeti cooler. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling will be at the Franklin Firecracker Festival Monday evening, July the 3rd, by the stage with giveaways and a chance to win a new Yeti cooler. See you at Youngs Creek Park in Franklin. And with the hot weather, if you need AC service, visit callthemarshallnow.com. Marshall is your American Standard air dealer.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
In the last 40 years, over 80,000, that's right, 80,000 Indiana families have trusted their home to B Window. Help us celebrate our 40th year anniversary and receive 40% off all products, plus special manufacturer rebates and up to 20 months, no interest, no payments. Just go to bwindow.com. We'll take care of the rest.
That's Faber's Bean Window. Trust me.
Does your child need a school that understands their learning style and keeps them engaged in the learning process? Indiana Gateway Digital Academy is an online public school offering a supportive learning environment, empowering students through a whole child approach with passionate teachers focused on student well-being and positive academic outcomes. Indiana Gateway Digital Academy is a tuition-free school now enrolling grades K through 12. Learn more at k12.com/INGDA. Indiana Gateway Digital Academy, committed to the success of every student.
All right, I just got a text message from our pal, Denny Smith. And he shows me this picture of this 30-foot maple that the wind knocked down onto a fence in Westfield. Man, some of these wind gusts, Matt Bear, 70 miles per hour in spots. Have they created any issues out on the roads?
Yeah, we're having problems all over the place, especially with the power outages. I mean, so many major intersections without power right now. Please be patient. Please take turns. And up in Lebanon right now, it is a crash northbound at 65 after State Road 32. That has the left lane blocked. Traffic is stopped past Lebanon exit 138. Southbound lanes also stopped at State Road 47 because of the crash. Stopped on eastbound at 70 coming into downtown from Tibbs. Also inbound 70 completely jammed like so many other places from Emerson. Traffic sponsored by B Windows. Celebrate B Windows 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all of their products plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, looking out the window at Monument Circle here at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. The nasty stuff has made its way out. There's still some rain coming down, but the heavy stuff has moved out of Indianapolis area. But still, a lot of places without power. My house without power. I think yours is without power. Yep. Earlier today, the Supreme Court rejected affirmative action for colleges, Harvard and UNC. And Joe Biden, he spoke about this earlier. He's very upset. Now, I want you to listen to this closely. Joe Biden says affirmative action has been misunderstood and then proceeds to describe how candidates with identical qualifications get picked by race.
And I strongly disagree with the court's decision. Because affirmative action is so misunderstood, I want to be clear, make sure everybody's clear about what the law has been and what it has not been until today. Many people wrongly believe that affirmative action allows unqualified students to be admitted ahead of qualified students. This is not how college admissions work. Rather, colleges set out standards for admission, and every student has to meet those standards. Yeah. Then and only then, after first meeting the qualifications required by the school, do colleges look at other factors in addition to their grades, such as race.
Oh, come on! Really?
Race doesn't come into play until later on in the process.
Once everybody's at a nice, even playing field and you've met the qualifications, then we go by race.
Sorry, you know what? Yeah, you've met all the qualifications. You're testing through the roof. Your grade point average is amazing. But you know what? We have too many Asian Americans. Ooh. Sorry. So sorry. So you're going to have to go somewhere else because this other guy is a different color than you, and we need more of them.
But we're not racists, just to let you know. We're just not selecting you because of your race.
I don't care what part of the process you're in when determining, who you're going to pick to go to college. Race cannot enter into it.
And anyone who says that racial discrimination is acceptable and constitutional as long as it targets whites or Asian Americans can't be taken seriously. And that includes former President Obama, Joe Biden right now. It's an indefensible position. You're basically saying racism's okay if we're screwing over whitey or if we're screwing over Asian Americans. But other than that, everything's fine. All right, Rick Snyder, FOP president, next. All right, I have a few technical issues here at the WIBC studio. So Allison just looked at me and said, hey, just go on and fill. So I can absolutely do that. If you're just now tuning in, here's what we're dealing with here at the Hammer and Nigel show. In the last hour, we talked about ridiculous policies from Joe Hogsett's office that are affecting business communities in Central Indy, like Broad Ripple. We had Nigel throw up. Yes, if you want to go back and watch on the YouTube stream, I think this is the fourth time now, we actually had Nigel throw up live in studio. We spoke to Charlie Arnold, former Fox 59 sports reporter, who now has worked her way up through the ranks. She went through ESPN, got tired of all their policies and woke bull crap, and now she's getting ready to launch her own morning show at Outkick. Plus, she does awesome work for the UFC. If you're a UFC fight fan, you've seen Charlie holding it down. And that's just been 1 hour. So hopefully, if you're listening to this program and you have power, because that's also a major issue happening right now, you've enjoyed it. Now, coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour, FOP President Rick Snyder will join us. We initially booked Rick to talk about the crime in the city, Broad Ripple's response to the crime, but we're also going to talk about recent events that took place last night. Unfortunately, loss of life of an Indiana State trooper, and it's never easy. We played the audio of State Superintendent Doug Carter earlier when he had that press conference and he broke down into tears, basically announcing what had happened. You're reminded that these law officers, whether it's the IMPD, your local police, or the Indiana State Police, they go out there every single day and put their lives on the line. And we were reminded of that last night. Truly heroes. So Rick Snyder, who's never short of opinions, will join us coming up a little bit after 5 o'clock. Richard Essex, the investigative reporter for Wish TV, he's going to weigh in on the Delphi investigation. So yesterday, a lot of documents were uncovered. We found out how the young ladies were murdered, and we found out a little bit more about the search warrant, because that's been a big question about this whole investigation. The arrest of Richard Allen. What led to his arrest? A lot of people thought that the unfired shell case, the unfired piece of ammunition, wasn't enough to warrant a search of Richard Allen's home. But it sounds like there's substantially more to that search warrant than that. So Richard Essex, he's the investigative reporter for Wish TV. He's going to join us. He's got a lot more information. And then coming up at 5:33, Rob Sabatini. He is a man that owns multiple establishments in Broad Ripple. Now, the Broad Ripple Village Association has announced that a lot of the bar owners in Broad Ripple will be closing down early, effective immediately. No more 3 o'clock closings. They're going to be closing down at approximately 1 o'clock. And the reason that is, one, I don't think they want to be the scapegoats for any shenanigans happening in Broad Ripple. And number two, Joe Hogsett and Ryan Mears have lost complete control of the city. And now businesses have to shut down early for fear that something bad may happen. And because it's an election year, Joe Hogsett will try to blame them for it. The whole thing is a complete mess, and it's embarrassing as a city. And I want you to remember that when you start seeing Joe Hogsett out at all these events. Somebody ask him where he was at the night of the riots and ask if he's ashamed that businesses have to close early. All that's coming up right after the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Your former governor took a trip overseas. There are thousands of power outages across the state right now. That's from the severe weather that moved through most of Indiana today. Duke Energy has around 140,000 customers without power across the entire state. About 30,000 AES customers around Indianapolis don't have power. You can expect this rain to stick around for a few more hours today. Temps in the low 80s downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Former Indiana Governor Mike Pence visited Ukraine today. today. He's meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky.
And I have every confidence that the day will come when Ukraine's sovereignty is restored, her territorial integrity is restored. And in that moment, I believe we'll not only have served the interests of the people of Ukraine, but I truly believe it's in the national interest of the United States and all of the free world.
Pence's support of Ukraine has become a key point in his campaign. The air quality is not great today. Kevin Rowe, a respiratory therapist at Ascension St. Vincent and Kokomo, says you're taking a risk by going outside.
So long-term exposure, and speaking with physicians here through Ascension, can lead to damage of the cardiovascular system.
Rowe says it can lead to coughing, wheezing, and other chronic conditions like asthma. Indiana State Police will be doing what they can to keep drunk drivers off the road over the holiday weekend.
We have extra high-visibility patrols looking for those dangerous and impaired drivers because this is going to be a very heavily traveled holiday period.
Captain Ron Galliva is talking about the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. He says if you're drinking this weekend, make sure you have a designated driver or you call some sort of rideshare. The Indianapolis Colts have waived 2 of their players for violating the NFL's gambling policy.
And that means they're both no longer on the active roster. I'm Sean Herrick. The Colts waived cornerback Isaiah Rodgers and outside linebacker Rashad Berry after they were both suspended by the NFL indefinitely. They can apply for reinstatement into the league at the end of the 2023 season. Colts general manager Chris Ballard says he's going to keep educating his staff and players about the consequences of violating the league's gambling policy. Sean Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
With traffic at 502, here's Matt Baer.
We are stopped all over the place, like eastbound 465 at Westfield Boulevard. Stop traffic over to Allisonville Road. Inbound 69 at James. 106th Street down to 82nd. With the power outages, lights out all over the place. Please take turns at the dark intersections like 79th and Michigan Road. Stopped in all directions. We have Benford Boulevard at 71st. Benford a mess from the intersection. And then Fall Creek Parkway at 30th. Lights not working. Outbound Fall Creek. Backed up to Meridian. Northbound 65 crash after State Road 32 left lane stop for miles. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information and nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on 24 instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We're tracking showers and thunderstorms into the holiday. Tonight, a few showers lingering. Tomorrow, starting your day with dry conditions. By late morning, early afternoon, we track showers and thunderstorms, some that could become severe. I'm Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown on 93 WIBC.
Temperatures in the low 80s and cloudy downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there, unfortunately, dealing with the loss of an Indiana State trooper, Aaron Smith, dying in the line of duty. Hammer, we have a special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
Rick Snyder is the president of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 86. And Rick, we had already booked you on this program to focus on crime. We wanted to talk about what's happening with the Broad Ripple community. But before we do that, I want to get your thoughts on what transpired last night. An Indiana State Police trooper, 33-year-old Aaron Smith, losing his life in the line of duty.
Yeah, well, our hearts go out to the Smith family and to this young bride and his parents. This is a strong family of faith, though. I have to tell you, I was blessed to be able to spend the entire night with them, just sitting with them and just watching their remarkable faith in action. And just reminds you of what kind of a man this trooper was. You know, he's not just a trooper. He's not just an officer. But he's a man. He's a husband. He's a son. He's a brother. And the legacy that he has left, not just through his service to his community, but through his leadership and legacy with his family. And it just reminds me, and I hope it reminds my fellow officers, but also the members of our community, that we walk amongst these heroes every day. We often slander them, throw things at them, cast aspersions upon them, but they faithfully stand the line for you and me. And that's exactly what Trooper Aaron Smith did in sacrificing his life last night.
Can you just tell me maybe a little bit more about Trooper Smith? I saw pictures of him on Facebook a few days ago after the tornadoes, helping out his fellow neighbors with his young wife, cleaning up trees and debris and things like that. And the next thing you know, he's gone, lost in the line of duty. Can you just talk a little bit about who Trooper Smith was?
Well, the one thing that was very clear is that as a trooper and a member of the Indiana State Police, he was so well regarded by his fellow officers. And, Superintendent Doug Carter spoke to that last night, said that he was a shining star in the entire ISP. But, a lot of his officers spoke about his care, not just for them as fellow officers, but his care and his love for his community. Watching that video, Rafael Sanchez on WRTV-6, he captured video of them serving their fellow neighbors down there in Johnson County after those tornadoes. And it just brought to mind what we talk about all the time, guys. Love God and love your neighbor. And here you have a young man and his young bride who are walking that out. And he was doing that again last night. It's a stark reminder of what our officers face day in and day out. And like we always say, this is not gun violence, knife violence. It's not car violence. It's criminal violence. And it's women and men like these that are standing that line to protect us every single day. I'm just so grateful to them, and just continue to pray for this family and pray for our police.
And finally, Rick, what's next for Officer Smith's family, his widow? What kind of options and
is there any way we can help?
Yeah, is there any way we can help? And what kind of care does the FOP and the state police and the IMPD provide to the families in the aftermath of a tragedy like this?
Yeah, guys, always appreciate your support for all of our law enforcement and their families. We start that process now. As you know, the FOP and the State Troopers Alliance, the Indiana State Police, they have very robust response teams that engage when these tragedies occur. We'll be stepping through the funeral planning process at the invitation at the family, of course. And you got to remember, every one of these families of our fallen officers, they also invite all of us as the community into a very private and personal event in their lives. So those details will be coming forward, and I'm sure there will be opportunities for the opportunity to help support this family in their time of need. And I suspect you'll be getting some information on that from a trusted organization for those funds to funnel through, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Rick Snyder joining us here on the Hammer and Nigel show. He's the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. Rick, let's turn our attention to what's happening in Indianapolis, specifically the Broad Ripple area. We found out yesterday that the Broad Ripple Village Association has announced that the bars, the clubs, the restaurants, all the nightlife will be closing at 1 o'clock. Now, to me, I think this is embarrassing. I'm a resident of Marion County. I live in Indianapolis, and this tells me that this city is so unsafe. The leadership in the city has such a lack of grasp of what's happening that businesses have to sacrifice a couple hours worth of their profits to close early.
Well, it's shameful for any residents of the entire state of Indiana. As Hoosiers, this is our capital city, and this is what we've been talking about for years now, guys, is that even if folks live in another county, they have to take note that this is your capital city, and as your capital city goes, so goes the rest of the state. And we've warned for 4 years now, starting in downtown Indianapolis, that this crime and violence has ripple effects that people often don't think about, but a big one is the effects upon the business community. Listen, business does not function. The Convention and Conference Bureau does not perform. And folks do not come to a city and spend money when they feel unsafe. That is why policing, law enforcement, and closing the revolving door of criminal justice is so vitally important. Here are the real-world outcomes. Just as we have been saying that when decision makers fail to close that revolving door of criminal justice, we now see that businesses are forced to close theirs. That's the tragic outcome here. You had a business community that said, well, it's not a 2 p.m. thing, it's a 2 a.m. thing, and because of the time of night, we're going to make some changes. Well, it reminds us that crime always revolves around people, places, and times and events. And, you look at the decision that they had to make. I think there's drastic outcomes and impacts upon these business owners, many of them small business owners, and they're going to now pay the consequences because the criminals in Indianapolis aren't facing any consequences when it comes to their criminal actions. And that's why we need leadership in this city to turn that around and say, no, we're putting our foot down, and we're going to assertively enforce the law in this city and take this community back. But, guys, I've got to be the bearer of bad news. The residents of Indianapolis elected a prosecutor that we consistently can show plays a critical role in the dysfunction of our criminal justice system, and we now have 4 more years of that to face.
And the thing that bothers me, Rick, is that I always see a lot of people complaining, well, you guys always say this and say that. What's your solution? We have given solutions out time and time again on this program. I know you have given out solutions. I remember a press conference that you had with Reverend Charles Harrison downtown in Indianapolis giving solutions, but it seems like all of these solutions fall on deaf ears.
Well, not only that, but they are actively rejected by our elected officials. And, guys, at some point, somebody has to ask the question, why? Why does it start to give the appearance that intentional steps are being taken to deconstruct the criminal justice system in our community, and the outcomes of all of this are the tragic loss of lives? We had these business leaders in Broad Ripple come together and say, quote, unquote, all hands on deck. Reverend Harrison and I made that call to action in 2019. Literally the day we did that, we came on your guys' radio show in studio and outlined a series of proposed solutions to take the city back. But, guys, these same elected leaders rejected that. They now stand before you and say, hey, please reelect us in this upcoming election. And that was nearly 900 lives ago. So you're going to tell me what lives matter here, yet you intentionally turned a blind eye to 900 of our fellow residents and visitors losing their lives as a result of violence in this city.
Do you think, I mean, after the shooting in Broad Ripple over the weekend, one of the solutions they came up with was gun-free zones up and down Broad Ripple Avenue. Now, it looks like because of the Broad Ripple Village Association and the agreement to shut down at 1 or 1:30 from here on out, I don't think that's going to happen. But you saw Mayor Hogsett come out with all these anti-gun initiatives. And the thing is, I've been seeing these same kinds of headlines in Broad Ripple for years. It's not just like all of a sudden in 2023 we're having this problem. 2021, 2020, 2022. We've been seeing the same headlines over and over and over again. And now in an election year, all of a sudden we're coming up with these solutions.
Well, like I've said publicly, we see all these indie politicians suddenly clutching their pearls and acting so outraged by this violence as though it's sudden. Like what we've said, hey, welcome to the party, folks. What has taken you so long to engage here? And now what you see is this intentional act to try to cast dispersions and change focus and make it sound like this is just some recent event. We have publicly put forward headline after headline after headline of tragedies that have occurred, of not just shootings and shots fired, but people being stabbed as well in the Broad Ripple area for going back to at least 2016, guys. But we showed many of those that occurred well before the July 1st, 2022 enactment of what has been called permitless carry in the state of Indiana. But you have politicians that are trying to ascribe the permitless carry as the cause for this violence, yet have no explanation for all the violence that occurred before it. And guys, here's what we have found. Thus far, in 180 days in Indianapolis, we're averaging a person shot or stabbed every 7.5 hours in our city. We're averaging a person killed every 39 hours. Now, those are terrible stats. Those should get the attention of anybody. But here's the thing. They're not any worse. In fact, they may be slightly better than what the trends have been in the years prior to July 1st, 2022. So this whole false flag argument that this change in law caused this surging violence isn't holding up. In addition to that, we've got this one other constant thing that's shown. You have a mother of a victim in Broad Ripple that said it's too congested up there and this is nothing but a money thing. I don't think she's too far off. But the thing that the Broad Ripple Village Association or any of these other groups better start thinking about when they fall into this trap of this pie-in-the-sky dream of the mayor that we'll just construct gun-free zones, is that to do that, you've got to enter into a private event agreement, a permit. And with that comes the liability, folks. Now when something happens at your private event, who bears the liability on that? I think the business community up there got hip to that real quick, and that's why you saw a sharp change in course of action. And maybe we start cutting back on the hours and avoid the private event zone, but that's to be seen. But I can guarantee you that was not part of the discussion when the mayor outlined that. And guys, I encourage you to do this. Keep our long, lengthy written statement handy over the next several months in response to the mayor's announcements, because you're going to see time and again, we can simply go back to that and point to the error in his ways and show what's really going on here.
And it really is disappointing that so many people buy a lot of misinformation coming out of the mayor's office, because Joe Hogsett will sit here and act like permitless carry, constitutional carry is some sort of reason for an uptick. But then when you push back and say you realize you still have to pass a background check, nothing has changed in that regard. And the worst year for homicides in Indy historically happened, one, under Hogsett's leadership, and number two, before that law was enacted. You don't normally get a lot of pushback after you explain those facts to people. But unfortunately, there's a large amount of voters in this city, Rick, that would be news to them.
Well, I think it raises this bigger issue, which is the reason why folks get so confused about the specifics of these proposals is because, quite frankly, to some of our folks in the media business, they're not asking the tough questions, and they haven't been since 2019. We've been very emphatic on that. Now, there are some individual reporters who will do it, but we have news directors in this city that we know for a fact are squashing these stories and squashing the tough questions of being asked. I've said since 2019, why the hell isn't a reporter or a gang of reporters beating down the door of the mayor's office demanding answers on these issues, but they won't do it? Those reporters answer to somebody, and we've had even a reporter who has since retired from the business that publicly came forward and said, I sat in meetings and listened to news directors squash the stories, told us don't talk to Rick Snyder or the FOP anymore, don't retweet what they're saying, as though this is a child playground issue. These are lives that are at stake, and the tough questions need to be asked. Guys, I'll close with this. The only people living behind bars in the city of Indianapolis are its residents, its business owners, and students. The criminals are not.
Rick Snyder, President, Fraternal Order of Police. Rick, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, tell all of the officers that we support what they do.
Thank you. God bless. And please keep the Trooper Aaron Smith family in your prayers.
Absolutely. Matt Bear standing by in the WIBC Traffic Center.
Southside crash westbound 465 at White River, blocking the left lane, stopping traffic back to Harding. The eastbound lane stop and go right now, Kentucky over to the White River. The power outages causing lights to be out all over the place right now. We're looking at Rockville Road, a girls' school road, lights out there. Rockville's a mess. Same thing with Benford is 71st. Michigan Road right now at 79th, lights out. Traffic backed up all directions. Traffic sponsored by LASIK Plus. LASIK Plus is the patient's choice for LASIK. Get $1,000 off LASIK when treated in July. That's $500 off per eye plus guaranteed financing. Visit mylasicoffer.com for details. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
There's this one pain-in-the-ass troll on the YouTube chat. Rudy the Boxer, Mr. Tough Guy, Rudy the Boxer. Do you guys remember during the BLM riots, the police backed down and allowed these thugs to run the city? Well, Rudy, since you're really smart and you know all things about how the city works, did you ever think that maybe they were ordered to stand down? Maybe when Joe Hogsett was missing because he was wink, wink, indisposed, and Thomas Carl Cook was putting tweets out on his behalf, that the acting leadership of this city told the police, if you want to keep your job, you tell these folks that they can do whatever they want? Did you ever think about that, Rudy the Boxer? Because you're so smart. I swear to God, these are the people. These are the people that vote and then breed. And we have ridiculous things in our city like are happening right now. Good Lord. All right, it's the Hammer and Nigel show. Let's keep it rolling.
The The Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
Richard Essex is an award-winning investigative journalist for our news partners over at Wish TV 8. Richard, you've been covering this Delphi murder story for a long time. Yesterday was a pretty big day. A lot of documents were uncovered. For those who didn't get a chance to pay attention yesterday, what did we learn?
Well, we have hundreds of pages of documents, and we're still going through them. But the big thing that we found out that how Abby and Libby were murdered. That was the first time that where investigators have written in documents that these girls died at the hands of a sharp object. And going through the probable cause or some of the search warrant information that was released yesterday, they took 20 knives out of Richard Allen's house, plus the gun that he had. So there's starting to piecing things together. It's starting to look more and more like Mr. Allen had a hand in their murders.
Well, I thought beyond that were the transcripts of the phone calls that Richard Allen made to his wife. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, those were pretty alarming to read, and I was reading through those again this morning, where he admits 5 or 6 times to his mother and to his wife that he committed these murders, and they must have been to the point where it was shocking for his wife to hear, because she abruptly ended one of those conversations just when they were having that. And something else that I found interesting this morning is that every single one of these conversations were recorded, and I didn't know that the Department of Corrections recorded every single one of these conversations. So that's I suspect that the prosecution is going to make hay with those recordings.
What do you think the defense is going to do? Probably try to get them suppressed.
I think they're going to challenge that. I think they're going to say that he's not in his right mind, which they're laying the groundwork for that now.
Yep.
That his mental health, his physical health has deteriorated, and when you look at him from when he was first arrested last October to when he appeared in court just a couple weeks ago, it's a remarkably different person. And when he was leaving court a couple weeks ago, when we were up there earlier in the month, he walked past his wife, and I was sitting right behind his wife. He walked past her, and he kind of stopped, and he looked at her, but he didn't look at her like, hey, how are you? I can't believe it's you, or, I'm okay. It was just this really blank stare. And then as he kept coming through, he gave me the very same look. It kind of frightened me. And the other reporters that were sitting around me like, why is he looking at you that way? So the guy has absolutely changed. I don't know if it's an act or what, but there's no question the lights are on, but I don't think there's anybody home right now.
Richard, how is he being treated in jail? I know you had a story on Wish TV about some letters that have been coming in.
Well, I think Westville, which historically has been a pretty rough prison in the first place. I always knew it as the prison where the psychiatric prison for criminals, and it's never been an easy place. I have family that live up there. I remember driving by that place, and it just looks medieval. So it sounds to me like he's had a pretty rough go. They put him in isolation. It's kind of way back in the property. There's a handful of people there, and there's a letter that one of his fellow inmates had sent to the court where some of the officers had been calling him a kid killer, and he's been threatened by other inmates telling him to kill himself, as other inmates are telling him they're going to kill him. So it's not that he deserves to have an easy go with things, but it sounds like it's rougher than most places.
Richard Essex, Wish TV News investigative journalist covering Delphi. And so these documents that were unsealed yesterday, you said there's hundreds of pages. I'm assuming I haven't heard anything about DNA evidence. I haven't heard anything about the actual murder weapon. I haven't heard anything about, was there blood on any of Richard Allen's clothing? Does it say anything about?
No, there's mention that he was spotted on the Monon High Bridge trail with muddy and bloody clothes on, and that's in the probable cause. One thing that I found interesting is you remember when this first kind of started breaking, there was a picture of a younger guy and there's no mention of a younger person. It's like we just lost like 3-4 years of this investigation, and they jump right to Richard Allen. Now, maybe that's in documents that haven't been released, or maybe they don't find those relevant, but I don't see any mention of this younger guy. And the conversation that Allen had with the conservation officer in 2017, and then Allen and his wife come back for another interview with police, and he remembers all the same details. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember what I did in 2017 on February 13th to the detail that he remembers them by. So it's those kind of things that starting to make me think that this guy's probably he may really be the guy. You try not to develop a bias, so to speak, in these cases, but we've been following this for years, and I wasn't convinced when they arrest him that he was the guy. But now you start reading some of this, like, there's a lot of people that saw him at the same place, and he remembers some things years after years have gone by. He's telling the same story, so it had to have been a significant time in his life.
And Richard, now we turn our attention to the trial, which is slated to begin early next year. I think a lot of people are wondering about this search warrant, because it feels like the defensive strategy here is going to say that you're going to have to get rid of all of this evidence because the search warrant was bogus. For a long time, we had just heard that an unspent round traced back to Richard Allen's house was supposed to be, like, for lack of a better choice of words, a smoking gun here. But it sounds like in these documents released yesterday, there's a lot more to the search warrant than just that one piece of ammunition.
Yeah, there is. And honestly, I'm only about a third of the way through that search warrant. I've been reading the probable cause over and over this morning. But one thing that I have been hearing is that you've got this ballistics information for an unspent round, and you're going to bring that into a court where it was determined that these girls died at the hands of a sharp object, probably a knife. And you're going to introduce a ballistics evidence for a gun that wasn't used in the murder. Mm-hmm. So I think there's going to be a challenge to that.
Where can we get more information, Richard?
Wish TV, 5 o'clock, wishtv.com all day long. And I know as we go through these documents, we're putting them online because not everything needs to be put up there. There's some of this stuff is procedural and is just duplicated. So we're putting all of the relevant. I think we actually have everything up there right now, but as we go through more and more, we'll have it up there.
Richard Essex, award-winning investigative journalist for Wish TV. Richard, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Coming up next, we're going to speak to a bar owner in Broad Ripple, Rob Sabatini. We're going to find out what he thinks about this decision from the Broad Ripple Village Association that they have to shut down early because city leaders can't get a handle on the crime in the city. That conversation's coming up next. Right now, let's take a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What Pence was doing in Ukraine, radar shows the worst of today's storm has passed through central Indiana, but it's still going to be raining for a while. AES has over 35,000 customers without power in Indianapolis. Duke Energy has over 140,000 outages reported across the state. It's 66 and rainy downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:30. Former Indiana Governor Mike Pence says U.S. support for Ukraine is crucial. That's why he made a surprise visit to the country Thursday.
Because it will make it clear to Russia, to China, and to any other nations in the world that would seek to redraw international lines by force, that the free world will not stand for it. The free world will stand together for freedom. And it's my great honor to help deliver that message here in Ukraine today.
The U.S. recently announced another $500 million military aid package for the country. A verdict has been reached for Scott Peterson, a former Parkland School deputy on trial in Florida, accused of failing to confront Nicholas Cruz in the 2018 Parkland School shooting.
We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty.
Peterson broke down in tears next to his attorney as the judge read off not guilty verdicts for all 11 counts of the case, decided after a 3-day-long jury deliberation. President Biden is opposed to expanding the Supreme Court.
Take a look at overruling Roe v. Wade. Take a look at what the decision today.
In an interview with MSNBC, the president argued the court has done more to unravel basic rights and precedents than any court in recent history, citing their decision to strike down affirmative action programs in college admissions. The Indianapolis Colts have waived 2 of their players for violating the NFL's gambling policy, meaning they're no longer on the roster. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry are the 2 players suspended by the NFL indefinitely. Colts general manager Chris Ballard says he's going to keep educating his staff and players about the consequences of violating the league's gambling policy. A unique team will be showcasing its baseball skills this weekend at Indy's Victory Field. Sasha Nixon has more.
The Savannah Bananas will be stopping in the Circle City Thursday and Friday as part of their world tour. Tickets for the games, which should last less than 2 hours, are sold out. Team co-owner Emily Cole tells WIBC's Terry Stacy,
"We break down those walls, and we are able to relate to most people."
The team's baseball players deliver an entertaining spectacle as they play banana ball, complete with dancing, walking on stilts, performing acrobatic stunts, and more. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Your stock report, the Dow was up by 269 to 34,122 today. The NASDAQ dropped by less than a point to 13,591. The S&P 500 finished up by 19 to 4,396. With traffic at 5:32, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, south side crash, westbound 465 at the White River, blocking the left lane, stopping traffic past Harding to Bluff Road. Eastbound lanes also stop and go right now from 70 over to the White River. Into downtown, eastbound 70 jammed from Belmont to the south split. Turn north, it's going to be stop and go up to the north split. Power outages mean lights out. Please take turns. We see Rockville Road, a girls' school road. Rockville Road's a mess. Also, Michigan Road at 79th. Michigan Road backed up in both directions. Michigan Meridian from 75th, and then Benford Boulevard from 71st. All those lights out, so many more. Please be careful. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Celebrate B Window's 40-year anniversary with 40% savings on all their products, plus manufacturer's rebates. Get 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We're tracking showers and thunderstorms into the holiday. Tonight, a few showers lingering. Tomorrow, starting your day with dry conditions. By late morning, early afternoon, we track showers and thunderstorms, some that could become severe. I'm Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown on 93 WIBC.
Temperatures have dropped all the way down to the 60s after the rain moved through. 66, cloudy and rainy downtown. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. We'll go to the drivehubler.com hotline and bring back an old friend, Rob Sabatini, longtime bar owner in Broad Ripple, the Broad Ripple trifecta, Rock Lobster, Mine Shaft, Average Joe's. Rob, thanks for coming back on the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm good. Thanks for having me back. It's been almost 2 months.
Well, it's the least you could do, because the money, the amount of money I've spent at your establishments, I'd sent like 3 of your kids to college. So
and that's good, because I don't have any kids. So
it's all in your pocket. Hey, okay, let's start at the beginning here. The Broad Ripple Village Association announced that all bars and restaurants are going to shut their doors at 1 a.m. every day until further notice. I want to get your thoughts on that, but before we get to that, take us back to Saturday night when all this started and there was talk of gun-free zones and there was a shooting Saturday night into Sunday morning. A few people, unfortunately, lost their lives. What do you know about that and what went down?
Yeah. Well, you can kind of take this back really 2 years to when they announced this project, this redo Broad Ripple Avenue project. And one of the things that was failed to be mentioned in really anything, maybe there has been a little bit more now, but initially the press conference and the initial reports, nobody has really gotten to the point where there is basically from Guilford Avenue down to College, a completely closed off 7-foot high fence around Broad Ripple Avenue right now, leading to really narrow corridors on the sidewalk. Personally, I mean, I've always been involved in safety up here. I got an accommodation from the City County Council back in 2007 for public safety. So I'm pretty aware of the kind of stuff that goes on up here. So one of the major things right off the bat for me was at least with my bars was the safety factors with this fencing that was going to go up. And we made big issues about it. My insurance company came out and looked at it, deemed that it was very unsafe. I ended up losing a $1 million umbrella policy because of the unsafeness of it. Then on June 12th, they finished the first phase of the project, and they went to the second phase. And at that point in time, we were all under the assumption that the fence was going to start at the edge of Rock Lobster and move its way west on Broad Ripple Avenue. But instead, they blocked off the entire street. So now you have basically unattainable fencing from Guilford Avenue all the way down the street with a 7-foot high fence.
And what makes it so unsafe? It's just that it's keeping people in close proximity.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just walking down the street, it's not safe. But for nightclubs exiting customers, close quarters, and especially when you throw in a loitering factor, I mean, you have potential problems. So after notifying and talking or emailing local agencies, none of them were too concerned about this being an issue or anything. And then Saturday night came along, so now you've got the fence line on the other side of the street, and there's some issues on the other side of the street with several establishments. But that fence line, you couldn't have jammed another person into it. They were just wall to wall. It was like the Rock Lobster is on New Year's Eve, basically. So you can but this is all outside. One of the things that needs to be noted, it happened around a little bit after 2:00. This all happened on the other side of the street in the middle of the block. It didn't happen on Guilford and Broad Ripple Avenue like some people assume it did. This happened in the middle of the block. At the point that it happened, Kilroy's was closed, OPT's was closed, the Alley Cat was no longer taking customers, Broadville Tavern was closed. All three of my establishments were closed or not taking any more customers when a fight broke out on the other side of the street before the shooting occurred. But this fight on the other side knocked the fencing down, and now you've got people brawling in the middle of the construction zone. So, without a real plan, one of the things I had asked the IMPD was what their emergency and response plan was, and they told me they had that, and they obviously weren't as prepared as they possibly could have been, and they were trying to react to this shooting through crowds of people running the opposite direction. When the ambulances came to respond, they had to respond from about a block and a half away because nobody could get down into the section where the people were shot because it was all.
It's ridiculous.
It was all blocked off by the construction project. So, like I said, we got up in the morning on Saturday, and a couple things that are of note was when we went to bed on Saturday night at 6 a.m., there were 116 comments on the Citizens app about this particular incident, and when we woke up on Sunday morning around noon, there were 15. So there were a bunch of comments
deleted.
Wiped off, deleted, and this was after they had their press conference. Well, in the press conference, they didn't mention anything about the construction, anything about the fencing. They said there were a lot of police officers there, but there weren't any police officers really directly attending to the problem on the other side of the street, which was the vast number of people that were inside that fence line. So, that's kind of what happened on the Saturday night. So we had a meeting yesterday, and it was basically to fight any preconceptions on what it was. It was actually called by the bar community because we've just been pushed around, and we've had enough of what goes on up here. And I mean, no matter what happens, if you have 80 shots fired and nothing's done, you have a pretty good idea that nothing's going to be done unless something drastic happens. And I mean, we all know that the reason why this has become an issue is because there were 3 people killed and not because it was just another act of violence in Broad Ripple. So all the excuses are always the same. You can't solve personal conflicts with gunfire.
Right.
Problem parenting.
Rob, let me jump in here real quick. Jason Hammer here. So basically Broad Ripple Village Association, they say, all right, you guys all have to shut down at 1:00. To me, now I'm not a business owner, but to me that seems like this is leadership blaming business owners in Broad Ripple for a bunch of the situations that you guys had nothing to do with.
The BRVA hosted the meeting, but it was the bar owners themselves that came up with the solution. I mean, it's just unfortunately, it's just such an unsafe situation that most of us were closing before 1 or 1:30 anyway. So this meeting was facilitated through the BRVA, but the BRVA, I don't want to throw them under the bus because the BRVA did nothing but host the meeting and let us make our own decisions. And this was a unanimous vote by us as bar owners to do this because we know that if we do this, then it'll be 100% on the city and their response to that to get this problem cleaned up for us.
Is there a concern about a loss of revenue for the places that wanted to stay open?
Well, the loss of revenue is so extreme right now up here that it's not going to make that big a difference. And in fact, they talk about problem properties, and when we got into the meeting yesterday, the only people that felt it was necessary to move forward were the problem properties. And the reason the problem properties obviously want to stay open is because this kind of activity is very profitable for them.
So there are business owners that are problem owners, so to speak. There are bar operators.
Yes, there. I mean, yes, there are. And like I said, that's the third one they always point the finger at. But they've been pointing the finger at the same businesses and things for many years.
What kind of things are you doing and they're not doing? Because as far as I know, I've never seen hasn't been a shooting in a nightclub. It's always been outside where the public is.
No, it's. I mean, if you really want to narrow it down, it's who you're targeting as your clientele base. What kind of music you're playing inside your places? What the theme is of what you're doing inside, and in this particular case, this is just. I mean, there was nothing really open. So in this particular case, this is just a bad law of not allowing or of not doing anything about loitering in the street. I mean, this is more of a loitering in the street problem than it is a bar problem or anything else. So it's kind of our hope that if we can get shut down. I mean, there's no customers any of us want after 1:30 anyway.
Been talking a lot about the crime in Broad Ripple, how it's affecting the bars and businesses. Rob Sabatini is a longtime Broad Ripple bar owner on the DriveHero.com hotline.
You mentioned it's a loitering problem, Rob, and one of the things that I heard from another bar owner was a lot of the problems, honestly, are folks that aren't going into the clubs. They're not even old enough to be there. They certainly have a rap sheet, possibly not legally able to have a firearm. That seems like it's a little bit of a problem too. Are you seeing any of that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said the last time we talked, first of all, if 80 shots doesn't get people's attention, just, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of this could have been prevented or lessened. But, the people that got shot were between 22 and 24 years old. There are a lot of people out there. They're not necessarily all minors. There's some older people out there too. I'd say the crowd is between 20 and 30 years old. I don't see very many 16-year-olds that I would call 16-year-olds running around the neighborhood. But they come out the crowd comes out big crowd comes out to hang out on the street at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's no intention of going into the bars. There's way more people that can ever fit in the bars. So, they bring their guns, they bring their bottle of booze, and they just hang out in the street. And because there's no loitering or no loitering laws or anything, that they are just allowed to do so. So it's our hope that by closing at 1:30, we're able to close down ourselves as a destination, and city officials have promised to clear the streets out, and that's why the thing went into effect to try to close by 1:30, and then it's up to the city, and they can quit blaming us as people that are complicit in this problem, because it's not our problem. I mean, like I said, when this went down, there was nobody open because it wasn't safe enough to be open.
Rob Sabatini, Rock Lobster, Average Joe's, The Mine Shaft, Broad Ripple, Trifecta. I hope you guys have a better weekend coming up than last weekend. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July, Rob. Keep us updated, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
And you know what? Let's hold on. Before we go to break, maybe we should take some calls about this weather system that just moved through Indianapolis, because you and I, Hammer, I've been getting blown up by several different people about a lot of damage and power outages, and we just got a text from our boss, several trees falling down. 239-9393. 239-9393. Tell us what you saw about this. Thankfully, it doesn't look as bad as what happened on Sunday.
Right.
But I mean, we've had people tweeting at us at Hammer and Nigel. We've had people texting us about down power lines, down trees. And so let us know what you saw and what you experienced. 239-9393. We'll take your calls.
So this is your chance to basically do a little recon for us, right? We'll kind of just go right down the line here. We'll take as many calls as we can get until we get to the top of the hour here. But I got a text from Denny Smith earlier, does the Home and Garden Show on the weekends. Big 30-foot tree knocked down onto a fence. There was a tweet from Reverend Charles Harrison earlier, showed a big tree in the middle of the road, blocking traffic back.
Oh, wow.
My son drove to work, and all the traffic lights were out. So it took him like an hour to get to work. It's normally a 20-minute drive. And then he got sent right back home because the power was out at his place of employment.
And a buddy that was driving up on the northwest side, 465 and 865, huge winds, giant hail, and he sent me videos that looked like a funnel cloud was ready to form. Fortunately, that didn't happen, but tell us what you saw. 239-9393.
The Savannah Bananas game at Victory Field tonight was supposed to be night number 1 of 2 in a holding pattern.
Okay, good.
Holding pattern because there's no power at Victory Field right now.
You got to be kidding me.
The big portion of the storms have made their way.
Yeah, it's done.
But right now there's no power at Victory Field. So that game is delayed, has not been canceled, has not been postponed. But if we hear anything, we'll let you know. All right, Allison, we got some folks lined up here. Who do we got?
We got Matthew.
Matthew, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show. Tell us what you're seeing and where you're at, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm actually located here in Indianapolis, but I'm a part of some fire departments out in Putnam County, and I can say Putnam County got absolutely clobbered. At the last count, there's over 30 call-outs for down power lines, down trees, to the point where the Putnam County Sheriff's Department is actually asking people to stay home and not go on the road so emergency crews can actively respond to clean up the roadways and get everything back restored.
And again, this tells you how bad Sunday was, because I feel like this system that just came through wasn't nearly as bad. But you're telling me, again, that you've had...
It was 100 times worse than what we had come through Putnam County on Sunday. We didn't have any of the tornadoes out in Putnam County, but just the sheer amount of damage with down trees, it's a lot worse.
All right, thank you so much. Allison, who else we got lined up over here? Allison, who do we got?
We got Amanda from
Amanda. Sorry, our equipment's wonky over here. We got some computers down, some computers working, some power's out. So give us a little break here if things sound a little crazy here. Is Amanda still there?
Amanda's here.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Go ahead and tell us what's going on, Amanda.
Hi, I'm at 126 in Allisonville, and we had wind shear come through. I have a ranch that's 60 years old, so I'm catty corner to Connor Prairie. I have a tree in the back that is 3 times taller than my ranch. It snapped in 5 different places.
Jeez.
Just the top of it blew off, and I just have to say, thank God it went toward the creek and not on my house.
There would have been if it would have landed the wrong way, what would it have done to your house?
Oh, it would have been gone. I have a ranch in the orchard at Sunblest, and it just would have been gone. And it was just cracks, and it just snapped, and it was gone. And then I walk out on my front porch, and I have 3 little teeny delicate plants. They didn't move an inch. And for one of you, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a couple of years. I have a snow blower that you were talking about needing one, and I'm happy to give it to you.
Oh, wow.
Because I had a new driveway put in, and I don't want to possibly damage my new driveway. So if one of you wants a new snowblower, Rob Kendall knows how to get a hold of me.
Okay. And
I was on school board up here.
Okay, and Amanda, is that your name?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay,
sir.
Amanda, we will definitely.
Thank you guys, because the internet went out, the power went out, and we knew we could fire up the radio and listen to WIBC. So thank you so much.
What did you do? Did you go concrete, Amanda, or what'd you do for the driveway?
Mattingly concrete.
Oh yeah.
It's very nice.
So you did do a concrete driveway. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
beautiful.
Did they say the snowblower would damage it?
Well, I also have MS, and
Yeah.
so I'm kind of using one of you at one point a while back said, oh, it'd be nice to have a snowblower. And I thought, well, I could do something nice for that gentleman's son who was trying to raise money. And I don't need to have, it's a huge one. And I don't need to have that. So I'm not kidding. And Rob Kendall knows me. He knows how to get a hold of me. And
Right on.
congratulations on his little girl. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and
Thank
God
you,
bless you,
gentlemen.
Amanda.
All right, bye-bye.
And absolutely, hat tip to Rob Kendall. The reason there was no off the rails today, he said he was busy being a dad. So
What does he have to do? He just sit there and hold the kid.
I know.
Why did he come back to work?
I told Buttigieg to get his ass in here, and how many more days off does he need? It's not like you dropped the shorty; it was your wife.
I think when I had both my kids, I think I was off a week, and that was probably it. I think you're allowed by law to take like 6 weeks if you're the dude, right? Paternity leave.
Right.
I don't know what it is for the chicks.
But Rob and his beautiful wife, now parents of a beautiful baby girl, congratulations. Allison, who do we got lined up next?
We got John.
John, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Where are you from, John?
I'm Meridian Kessler. We know each other, unfortunately.
Oh, I know who you are, you no good, rotten, radio-loving son of a... How are you, John?
Absolutely. Anyway, there's a bunch of trees down at about 54th and 54th in Delaware, all the way over to probably 53rd and Central, kind of like a line went through there. My house is right in the middle of it, and we lost power for a while.
Yeah,
so it
that's,
looks like
that's kind of where our boss lives too, around that area.
Right.
He had damage.
David lives here?
Not David. David's too big time. He's moved his way up the ladder.
He's way north.
Yeah. Bob Ross is who we're talking about, and that's where he lives, around that area.
I'll have to drop off a Bob and Tom gift bag past his house.
I'm sure he would love that. My man, be good.
See ya.
All right, Miss Allison, keep him rolling, keep him rocking. Who do we got next?
We got Gary in Zionsville.
Gary in Zville. What's up, Gary?
Yeah, sort of. I live on Moore Road where Nigel speeds past my house every day.
Is it a school zone, Gary? Is Nigel speeding through in a school zone?
Yeah, right past the camp, though. Don't go home that way, Nigel. There's a 150-year-old tree laying across the Moore Road and 96th Street.
So Moore Road is near Traders Point Creamery, and you have to tell me exactly where you're at. Are you like on the curvy part there, past the creamery, going north, or?
No, I'm right across from the camp.
Okay.
You'll see my police Tahoe in the driveway every day.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, so it's shut down that way then.
It is. Yeah, don't go home now. I don't know how long it's going to take. All the power's out over there, but we had straight line winds come through. My backyard's a mess. I got trees down, and it's a mess over there. So
Yeah, I mean that whole road is. When are they? I could talk to you forever about like the bridge down there across from Traders Point Creamery, and when they're going to expand that thing, and that. I mean, somebody's going to get hurt.
yeah, they'll never expand it. It's a historic area.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, good tip. Good tip. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Thank you, Gary.
I'll try to slow it down for you, Gary.
Stop in for a beer someday.
You don't tempt me, especially if you're the house I'm thinking of. You're right on my way home. If I see you're home, you're getting a knock on the door.
All right.
Whether you want it or not, Nigel's going to come crashing by.
You got it, man.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
I'm looking at the AES map right now, the energy map. This is AES Indiana. Around 50,000 customers without power right now. Now, that's AES. I haven't looked at the Duke map yet, but originally Xfinity sent me a text. We're aware of the power outage. We're looking to have this resolved by 4:55. Well, here we are, almost 6 o'clock, and there's still no power at Casa de Hammer. Anything at the Laskowski residence?
Well, my wife left, so I have no idea. But the last text I got from Duke was at 4:25. Estimated restoration time, temporarily unavailable.
Go bleep yourself.
Yeah, it just says temporarily unavailable, and I have not gotten a text since, so I do not know.
Allison, who do we got lined up next here?
Let's see. We got Brad here.
Brad, my man Brad. Tell us where you're from, Brad.
Currently Zionsville, and like I said, I got my phone cut out, so I couldn't hear. But that 96th Street and Moore Road, that is surely shut down by about a 50-foot walnut tree.
Man, there is so many. I mean, it's just that road is lined with trees. It's nothing but giant trees.
Yeah, and it's right there. It's right there at near the Goldman camp. But the other thing I was going to say, and this is props to Zionsville, because I just literally moved there a couple of years ago. But those cats are out there grinding trees. I mean, in the middle of the rainstorm, because I left my house at like 4:45 because I was like, why do I hang out here? So I went downtown Zionsville to try to get a beer, and they were out there already grinding the trees up.
That's solid.
Oh, wow.
Here's what I think needs to happen. Remember that big winter storm where that viral photo of Jim Harbaugh was out in the road just moving tree limbs? I want to see Brad and Nigel tonight working together and Gary to get that big-ass thing out of the road.
Where did you go for the beer? Where did you try to go for the beer? Like, where's your spot?
I really was going to go to Rush Street, but all the power's out. So I was like,
okay.
Still from the bottom. You got to need the power.
Yeah, I like Rush Street. So you're out of power still?
Yep, still on power.
Okay.
If somebody's tuning in for the very first time, they probably think, my God, everybody in Zionsville drinks all the time. Allison, who else do we got lined up here?
We have Steven.
Steven, you got about 1 minute here, my friend. What are you seeing?
I am on the west side at Rockville and 465 headed towards Girls School Road, and there's no power for the light. So it took me about 25 minutes to get from High School Road to Rockville Road because it's stopping traffic there. Just so it's crazy.
Well, man, be careful and keep doing what you're doing, man. Hang in there. Keep the radio on WIBC. And, they said this during COVID and nobody believed it. But right now, we're all in this thing together. Hardly anybody's got power.
I mean, maybe my estimation was not accurate. I mean, it sounds like I was comparing today to Sunday.
True.
And it sounds like there is still a lot of damage today.
Well, pizza, the Papa John's out there is shut down because we have no power. So it's going to be a few more hours before we can feed anybody.
Now, this is where I draw the line. This is where I draw the absolute line. You're telling me Papa John's is closed down, no power. That stinks. Thank you so much for the update, my man. I appreciate it.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Hey, real quick, I just retweeted at Hammer and Nigel the official memorial for fallen trooper Aaron Smith. This is from the Indiana State Police.
Okay.
So do not fall for any sort of scam, because unfortunately there are some scumbags that will try to scam you. If you go to our Twitter at Hammer and Nigel, the official memorial fund for fallen trooper Aaron Smith. All right, don't go anywhere. More Hammer and Nigel show coming up here in just a moment. 93 WIBC.
A message from the White House. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Biden is urging colleges